Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV, wherever you are in the world. And I've got one question, Perchy. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
What are we doing? We are surviving in this heat wave at the moment, trying to keep all systems cool and dying whilst I'm working. But apart from that, all things are good. Spurs haven't signed anyone and everyone's in meltdown. It's fun. Let's do this.
We're in meltdown with the heat. We're in meltdown with the football. Now, all of a sudden, people like Mohamed Kudus aren't good enough for Spurs fans. Honestly, we'll start as you mean to go on. It cracks me up. Somebody said to me earlier, I don't want Kudus. I said, have you seen our wingers at the moment? We've got Odegaard, Tell, Solomon, Hill, and Brennan Johnson. Like, what? We don't want Mohamed Kudus. Perchy, someone said Perchy is all dressed up. Does he have a date? Is this you all dressed up?
I'm not really. This is one of those like dolphin polos that are really thin, and it's so warm. Like you got to wear the thinnest clothing ever at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Sexy Perchy. AJ say, oh, sod off, Perchy. I've been out in this all day. Big up, lads. Well, listen.
I wish I was. I'll be honest. I wish I was. Like sitting in a room, bed with the sun all day, trying to work is horrible. But yeah, no, I wish I was in the sun.
Yeah. Well, listen. As a YouTuber, I'm indoors quite a lot, and it's. I don't think what people understand is not only are we indoors in the heart, it's all the lights that are on us.
Yeah.
Like this is. I'm lit up. My face is lit up because of look. Here we go. If that light goes off. And then that light goes off, and then I've got one behind me. Sure, so
it's quite sinister. You should start a show like that. It's quite terrifying. Just everything off, just deep staring into the camera. Yeah, it's like.
Welcome back to Football Heritage TV.
God.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. But listen, we can't complain because. Soon we'll be literally before we know it, we'll wake up and it will be pissing down with rain every day, and we'll all be going, "Where's the sun?" Listen, welcome to everyone in the chat. Perchy, it is. Oh, I would say it's July. I'm gonna be shameless. We're 6 hours away from July. We're there. We've reached July, and that means that there's about 43 days to go until we play PSG. And that means we got 43 days to sort out our squad, sort out these tactics, get the manager in with the players, get the players back. We've got PSG to play, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Newcastle, Luton, Reading, Bromley. A massive 43 days, Perchy.
It's fine because everyone told us on the 1st of July, everything's going to happen, right? I can't wait. Do you know what I would love, by the way, tomorrow? Is all we get is Kudus, here we go. Ramsey, here we go. All of a sudden, all these signings just happen tomorrow. It'll be like a Spurs YouTuber's wet dream tomorrow.
But what would we moan about?
Oh no, people will moan about something. People will moan that Kudus isn't Eze, Ramsey isn't Gallagher, or
look,
it'll be.
You mean like this? I don't want Kudus. He loses his head too easily. Don't forget what he did against us. Smash Van der Ven and Sarr in the face. Couldn't give a shit what he did to Van der Ven and Sarr.
You love Romero, though. I bet you love Romero, though.
Yeah. I tell you what I find funny is, like, we're always saying, oh, we've got too nice a team. Like, we need some attitude. We need some winners, some leaders. And then I don't want him because he pushed Van der Ven in the face, and I don't like.
It's funny, isn't it?
Oh no! Oh, come on! What are we doing here?
Do you know what makes me laugh? What I find funny with comments like this is people are the second he's holding up a Tottenham shirt and he does it for the first time. By the way, this is the same people, not using you specifically, the same people that said. Richarlison was horrible at Everton. He came to Tottenham and everyone loved what he got up to.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I'm going to play the game. I'll start, you go, and then we'll see how many we can go. All right? I don't want so-and-so because he scored a goal against us once.
I don't want a player because he supported this team That's the one I love. I love that one, by the way. I don't want him because he supported Arsenal as a kid. Grow up.
Who is it that's got the Arsenal tattoo? Someone. I don't want him. He's got an Arsenal tattoo. That's like me saying I won't sleep with Margot Robbie because she's got a tattoo of Brad Pitt. Do you mean I'll focus all my area on the Brad Pitt tattoo if I have to? I don't give a shit about that. Honestly, it's.
I love it.
I really, really love I love how fans work. I don't want him growing up. Harvey Elliott. I don't want him. He said something mean about Harry Kane. Oh, good God.
Grow up, man. Honestly, our fan. But this is the whole thing about sentimentality, right? And do you know what? This is why it's so easy to be a Tottenham player and get adulation as a Tottenham player, right? Because all they have to do is say nice things about Tottenham, and all our fans love them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Tottenham. I've always supported Tottenham when I grew up. No, you haven't. You're like, not using Romero. I'm not saying he said it, but like, if he came out and said, "No, you haven't. You're Argentinian. You didn't know Tottenham existed when you were a kid because you supported Real Madrid or Barcelona."
Oh, it's funny.
It's funny, isn't it?
The wife can hear it. She's heard it all before. Do you think my wife's going to sit there and go, but what if he meets Margot Robbie? Do you think if I walk past Margot Robbie, she's going to do the look back and go, oh my God, who's that guy?
The look back.
Oh my God, is that Savva from fhtv?
Mate, worldwide YouTuber these days, man.
Oh, Luz, what will happen?
I love it.
Oh, shut up.
I love it, mate. Please, this is you are creating content for us today. I love it.
Oh, gosh.
It's not that it's going to be awkward in the dressing room. Oh, behave. Do you know how these football players work? These football players don't. This is the thing, right? I think you said it before. You said it before, like on your channel. People need to stop thinking football players are football fans.
Yeah.
People need to stop with it. They don't care about the club like you do and like we do, right? Football players do not care.
It's their job.
You know what? Ben Foster, you know I like Ben Foster's podcast, and I like
good podcast,
he talks real good sense, right? Do you know the one thing he said about players? And he said, I can't remember. I always forget the lad who does the show with him. Always forget his name. But he was on it. He's always on it with him. He does the show with him. And he said, what happens as a football player? Because you obviously support a team when you're younger. But when you go and sign for a team, what happens? And he said, the second a football player signs for a team, their allegiance to other clubs disappears, right? He says some of them after playing might drift back into supporting their club. A bit like Darren Bent, for example. Darren Bent played for Tottenham. He's a long-breathing, long-singing Arsenal fan, and he is now.
So is Jermaine Defoe.
So is Jermaine Defoe, right? But he said
Jermaine Defoe is one of our record goal scorers. Do you know what I mean?
He's one of our legends of our club, right?
Yeah.
But he said Ben Foster said, like, as a kid, I supported Tottenham, but if Arsenal rung up the phone tomorrow, of course I'm joining them. It's Arsenal Football Club. Like, And he said, like, look at the players in history. Sol Campbell grew up supporting Tottenham. Do you know what he did? The second Arsenal came knocking, he left, right? Like, football players don't.
How about this? What about when all those Spanish players back in the day would fight during the El Clasico? And they kick the crap out of each other, and then the next week they're all playing together for Spain and winning tournaments.
Exactly.
Like, do we think this how it works? What would happen is Kudos would turn up at the training ground on day one. Him and VDV would be like, and it would be all over. This is
PK and Ramos is a good example, right?
Oh,
Gerard PK and Ramos, when they played for their clubs, hated each other. They literally played with each other in World Cup winning teams.
Mad.
Poyo as well, another one.
It's mad. And Reezy, shut up, mate. If you turned into a pro footballer tomorrow, listen, if I was 21 and I'm a pro footballer and I'm a lifelong Spurs fan, but Arsenal pick up the phone and go, do you want a 5-year contract at 250 grand a week? Yes. Yes. You know why?
100%.
Because it's my job. Like, oh,
Yeah,
it's easy to stay with emotion when money isn't involved. So
exactly.
when supporting a football club, there's no money involved for us as fans, right? Does that make sense? It's like,
Yeah, of
that's
course.
my
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
So the moment someone rings up and says 10 million a year to play for Arsenal, so I'm going to say to my wife, look, I'm going to go. I don't want to play for Arsenal. Take that 10 million. Take that. What you're doing? Take that 10 million.
I'll give you another example. I'll give you an example, right? Look, I don't know what Reezy does for work. Let's just say you're an IT consultant, right? I don't know what you do, right?
Troll.
I know, but let's just say, look for this. You're telling me if let's just say you're getting paid 40 grand a year, right? I don't know what people get paid. You're telling me that if there was an availability to work at Arsenal, but it was at 60 grand a week, you're telling me you wouldn't apply for him because it's Arsenal. Grow up, man. Sorry, grow up. You would, 100%.
It's like when I went and worked for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like I had people saying to me at the time, how can you work for them? You're a Spurs fan. I was like, first of all, do you think when I turned up at work every day that the whole conversation all day, every day was about Chelsea? Do you think footballers all day, every day in the canteen talk about themselves and football? They're lads. They talk about cars.
Yeah.
They talk about clubs. They talk about women. They talk about men, who whatever they're into. Absolutely mad. Big up to Chris. Love you, dude. Hope you're well. I love it. I'm not doing it. I have morals.
Do you know what? If morals paid for my bills, then I'm all for it. I'll be funny. I'm taking a.
Do you know what? Right? Do you know what? This is the difference, though, because between football fans and footballers. Right. Let me tell you a story. Right. So I used to have this row with my mate, who's a massive Liverpool fan. What's this Spurs news? Hang on, we can get a Kudos shirt at a club shop already. So somebody sent me something. And I went and did the Liverpool Anfield tour. He's a big Liverpool fan, and we were going to Liverpool for the night. And he was like, "Do you want to do the Liverpool stadium tour with me?" I said, "Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it'd be cool." You know what I mean? It's like I've been there before.
Yeah,
I've not done the tour, and it was really good. Honestly, it's really good when you're there. You feel like you're somewhere where there's history. And
yeah.
And as we come out, I said to him, I went, "Why is there nothing anywhere of Michael Owen?" I was like, "There's nothing." I said, "Gerrard galore, Carragher, blah blah," and he went, "Yeah, Liverpool fans hate Owen." Oh, why do you hate Owen? Because he went to Man United. I said, "But sorry, did Liverpool sell him to Man United?" No. So what happened? Hang on. Didn't he go to Real Madrid? Yeah. Followed by, was it Newcastle?
Newcastle, then Stoke.
Then Stoke, then something like that. He went from like Stoke.
Yeah. He went Newcastle, Stoke. I'm sure it was Newcastle, Stoke, Man United.
Right. Let's have a look.
They got him on a free, right?
Yeah. So Michael Owen, right? Here we go. Michael Owen. Here we go. Let's have a look at his clubs. So Michael Owen, Liverpool. Yeah. Then Real Madrid. Yeah. Then Newcastle United. Then Man U. Then Stoke.
Oh, it went Man U, then Stoke. Right. Yeah.
So he left Liverpool in 2004 and joined Man United 5 years later in 2009. Right? 2009. It was like, you just don't do it, he said. And I said, mate, 5 years had passed. Like 5 years had passed. I said, do you think? I said, if I remember rightly at the time, it was Stoke and Man United that wanted him, and that's the reason he went to Stoke afterwards. I said, sorry, you as a professional, you think that Michael Owen's going to turn around and go, right, I've got Stoke and Manchester United on the table as an offer, and you think I'm going to turn down Man U, who would have probably quadrupled Stoke's wages, who are winning title? The football fans are crazy, man.
But then again, I'm going to kind of argue against it. Actually, like I'm not saying I'm right or wrong on it, but on whatever it is. But let's just say, for hypothetical, right? Harry Kane goes to. Let's just say Harry Kane goes to Aston Villa after Bayern Munich, then goes to Arsenal. Are Spurs fans losing their mind that he played for Arsenal, even if it was just for a year? I'm being devil's advocate for the conversation, right?
I hear you. So for me, I think it all depends on what's on the table. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Harry Kane's ever in a position where Bayern Munich have let him go on a free, I'm just
just being hypothetical here.
Bayern Munich have let him go on a free, and no one else other than Arsenal have come in for him. If he's got Arsenal as a choice and Man United and Liverpool, then I judge him. But first of all, Liverpool and Man U, they're rivals, but I mean, we're talking 5 years later. But
no, I know. I'm just trying to think of a logical argument in a Tottenham space on how our fans would react.
Mate, this ain't in between us. I actually did work for Chelsea Football Club. It's not a big deal. It's not a big thing. I didn't say I played for Chelsea. Now that would be, when I was in the dressing room with Chelsea.
Do people not realise, by the way, it isn't like this. We treat fans treat football like this holier than thou. Like, you didn't realise I applied for a job at Tottenham in an accounts role. Like, do you know what I mean? It was when I was looking for a job. It isn't the world craziest thing.
Yeah. Not true, by the way. Not true. Just saying, not true. I knew Jermaine growing up. Sorry, just saying, I'm name dropping now. Just not true. Not true.
Oh, I bet you worked at Charlton as well, didn't you?
No, I did. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. I've grown up in and around a lot of footballers and football clubs, which is why I find it funny when people say things like, nope, if I was a professional and I supported Tottenham, I wouldn't go and play for Chelsea.
It's the football fan in a minute. That's what it is. It's the football fan in him. I get it. I do get it. But you wouldn't turn down money. It's the same people, right, by the way, that go, I'd never work in Saudi Arabia. Well, look, hang on a minute. It might be. But if the money was on the table, let's just say if I was being paid £500,000 a week and it was on the table there, it's ready to sign. The problem is people haven't been in those positions to make those considerations, right? I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, I just find it funny. And I think when people say, Savva, you're far too rational to be a football fan, I just think there's a difference between when people talk purely from emotion, it takes away a lot of reality. So I can sit here as a Spurs fan and go, we're the greatest team the world's ever seen. Brilliant. As a football fan, it's great that I think that.
Yeah, of course.
But in reality, my brain's telling me I'm a grown-up and I know differently, right? And that's just unfortunately how life works. But Perchy, by the way, in this show, if anyone would like to debate Perchy, not me, if anyone would like to debate Perchy on anything he says, let me know in the chat and I'll get you on. And I'll
let's do this.
Yeah, because Perchy said I'm in the mood for some debate.
I think I said the term was I'm up for an argument, to be fair. Let's go.
I was trying to be polite.
Oh, you don't have to be polite with me. Say how it is. I don't care.
Yeah. Would it not feel awful helping your rivals become better? You do know a job is a job. It's just mad. It's utter madness.
I love this.
I love it. Oh, I tell you what, right. Yeah, like I don't believe in a lot of the things out in Saudi. If someone rings me up and says, Savva, do you want to go to Saudi for a year for $500 a week? Yeah, I'll do a year.
Yeah, of course.
I'll do a year. Set me up for life. Perchy. So if anyone wants to debate Perchy, let me know in the chat. We'll get you on. You're more than welcome. Perchy, let's start, shall we? We're 20 minutes in. We haven't really talked about anything. I love it. A bit of banter. We love it.
It's what this chat's all about. It's just a laugh, isn't it? It's all good.
Absolutely. Meltdown today. Meltdown. We heard last week that Arsenal wanted Eze, and we were all assured, nothing to it. There's nothing to it. And there wasn't at the time. And now today it's been confirmed by a lot of reputable sources that, listen, Matt Law, Romano, Ornstein have all said that Arsenal representatives have now, let me start that again. Arsenal representatives have now been in touch with Eze's camp. At this stage, and I don't even know how, I keep hearing, they always tag on to the end of it, Spurs remain interested. At this stage, in your opinion, is that deal dead for Tottenham if there ever was going to be such a deal? Arsenal, title challengers 3 years in a row, big money, They signed top players. It just feels for me there's no coming back or any reason why he'd join us now. What do you make of it?
Well, look, I think the communication that we've heard is, I think people need to read what is being said and kind of take it into consideration, right? I think when the likes of Romano are posting, I think a lot of it has already been done in the sense of talks. When they say are in talks, that's probably something that happened last week, right? And when it says Spurs are still interested, yeah, look, Spurs will have those talks with it, but it almost feels like Arsenal are the first at the table. I think that's the key bit, right? Arsenal are the first at the table. They probably, and look, let's be fair with it. If you're Eze, you're sitting there going, Arsenal will offer it something, and they're at a higher level than us at the moment. And I think that's the key bit. For me, look, the one thing Tottenham will be able to offer Eze is consistent football. Because at the moment, Arsenal got a lot of attacking options. Whether or not they're the right ones or the wrong ones, Arsenal have got a lot at the moment. So have Tottenham, but Eze would be our best player in the team. Eze probably wouldn't be the best player at Arsenal. So that is the where I say Tottenham have pulling power, that would be Tottenham's argument, would say, look, we're in the Champions League. You would be our best player by a mile. Arsenal, though, would be looking at and going, well, hang on a minute. We are this far down in our cycle. You know, I don't do buzzwords, but we are quicker to the cycle. We are closer to winning the league, closer to winning the Champions League than Tottenham. That would be their pull. Look, I still think there's still considerations, but I think the fact that there's more talk with Arsenal tells me that that's the conversation that is happening. Do I want Eze? Yeah, look, for me, I think he's the better of the bunch. I think it's interesting, right? I think, for me, Arsenal will be looking to get rid of the likes of a Martinelli, maybe. So I think Arsenal will be in that position of who are we going to get offload? Who are we going to offload if I was Arsenal? Let me see. I've got power here. Let me see what I can do. Big up Sue saying, don't think we've ever been serious about Eze. Look, I think there has been talks. I think there's been communications about it. It's been very quiet publicly. It's been on there. But I do think that Spurs, there has definitely been interest. When you say interest called, yeah, I think that's the key one, right? Interest is called basically means that he don't want to come to us. And I think that's the key bit. This isn't about Tottenham not wanting Eze. This is more of the conversation about, this is for me a conversation about the players probably gone and said, Arsenal my favourites to go now. If, let's be fair, that's probably what it is. Tottenham and Arsenal are there. Let's be fair with it. Arsenal are above us in the pecking order, in the food chain, right?
They are.
It'd be interesting to see how much game time he does get. Who goes from Arsenal, right? Because Arsenal got a lot of strong attacking players, right? The likes of Martinelli, is he going to be the one that maybe is the one that gets made way for him, potentially? Who would you... If you were Arsenal now and you had to... You're going to have to sell one to bring one in, right? In theory, right? Who would be the one that goes? For me, it would be Martinelli.
I think Trossard.
Yeah, that's a good shout as well, actually. That's a good shout.
Yeah. Sorry about that. The front door.
Sorry?
By the way, guys, the link is in there. People are saying, I'll come on and debate Perchy. Cool. Let's see. You've got to let me know what you want to debate about. Someone said they want to come on and debate about the academy. Fine. Let's see. People talk a good game. The link is in there. I'll pin it as well so that anyone can use it. Hang on. Let's just pin this. There we go. But you need to have something to debate. Don't just come on for a chat. Want to debate? All right. I don't want to. Come on. I'm not having a panel show.
I want a question. Strong questions. If you're so, just to go back onto it. Now, where would you put Eze in your attacking lineup if you're Arsenal? I'm just intrigued. I'm more looking at it. I think you'd go out on the left. Is how I would see it if I was Eze. But
I'll tell you what I would do if I was them. I would use Timber and Lewis Skelly for my width.
Yeah.
I'd have Zubimendi so he could just sit in front of the two so it can turn into a free when they're attacking. Yeah. And then I'd have Saka and Eze just drifting inside, allowing the fullbacks for the width, and then have the main target man. That's what I would do.
So you would drop Odegaard?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look, it's difficult. There's so many games in the season.
Obviously, it will alternate and stuff. But I mean, but my point is if you would say if everyone was 100% fit, Odegaard be the one that you would drop out of that.
I think you get all three in.
Well, Odegaard, Saka, and Eze.
I'd have Zubimendi and Rice as my midfield two, and then I'd let listen. For me, I've never seen Odegaard as a playmaker. I think Odegaard's a really good footballer. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I don't see him as that creative, out and out. He's not an assist guy. He's not I'm going to rock up and get 20 assists. So I would almost have him and Rice in front of Zubimendi. Yeah, put all the strings, and then just let Eze, Saka, and the forwards do their thing. And that would scare me as a Spurs fan.
Yeah, see, in a way, so I see what you're doing there. So in a way, you'd go like a bit of a more of a basic 4-3-3, but your wingers are basically more inverted in, and then it's like three attackers. Your fullbacks just causing havoc.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then you've got Zubimendi and Rice that can do that, sitting in and helping out the back too. Look, for me, I'm just jealous that they've got these types of options. If they get options, Eze, right? If they get Eze and they get a Garquez, I mean, that is serious firepower. That is serious being added to their team, right? So, look, I heard as I was coming up the stairs, I heard what you said. You're absolutely right, by the way. You're absolutely right. There is a pecking order. There is a food chain. And unfortunately, I know we don't like to admit it, and I know we're probably too level-headed here, but Arsenal are above us in every aspect in the food chain. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think it's a game changer for them.
I've just got to pull something on because I'm sorry. You're about to be absolutely roasted, fella. Why are we jealous of Zubimendi? He'd be our best. Sorry, I don't mean to swear. Our best. It'd be our best fucking midfielder. Are you mad? Zubimendi's country's ahead of anyone we've got in midfield. Are you mad? Have you not watched this kid play? Oh, mate, that's wild.
Yeah, I think, again, I'll tell you what, Perchy, I think that this calls for...
Oh, I love it. Copium. I love it.
Bottles of copium. And if we don't like that, there's the stamp of authority on copium. And there's some copium. There we go.
Hey, when the Eze Here We Go comes, by the way, that is going to fester like mulled wine.
But this is what you get. Listen, I'd love to know who this is. Since the YouTube handles have changed, I don't know who is who, Perchy.
Yeah, we're catching out the trolls, by the way, when they change their name every 5 seconds.
I'm going to say it. Unfortunately, this shows me your level of intelligence. If we truly believe that one Europa League makes us a bigger football club than Arsenal, then we are seriously mistaken, right? Arsenal, oh my God, hang on, so what is happening here? Zubimendi is not miles ahead of Bergvall.
Please come on. I will absolutely school you on this. Come on.
Gosh.
There's someone else just put it in there and just said, where was it? There was one just before that. Here it is.
Would he be our best midfielder? Have you seen him in the... Oh my God. What are we... Can I ask, where do you trolls go to school?
This is amazing. This is wild, by the way. This is wild.
Mate, I don't know who you are. So first of all, if you're going to make things up, but Savva, when we were finishing second, third, and Arsenal were winning cups, you were literally saying, okay, first of all, when we were finishing second and third, I didn't have a YouTube channel. So I'd love to know where you're finding out this information of what I've said. Come on. Troll, come on. I'm just going to call you Troll. Feel free to come on, right? Where did I say such a thing?
I'm about to roast someone else if you want. This will be fun.
I love this.
This channel is filled with non-Spurs fans. It's a proper echo chamber. Come on and debate me. This is the whole point, right? If you've got to change a different opinion, come and say it to my face. I hate this. One thing I will hate, by the way, and I will say this. This echo chamber nonsense needs to stop, right? This echo chamber nonsense. There are shows here. By the way, this isn't just Savva's show channel. All of them. Come on and have the conversation. Everyone I know does folding shows. If it's an echo chamber, you wouldn't have an echo. You do realize everyone has different people on that have people that love the managers, people that hate the manager, people that love the owners, that's the whole point of debate, right? Everyone debates things all the time. This is crazy, man. Crazy stuff.
By the way, this is the last one of yours I'm going to bring up, unless you have the balls to come on, because you are now proving yourself to be a troll. Savva, will you admit we were better than Arsenal during the Poch years? We were better than Arsenal for a few seasons, yes, but actually no. Even in the year, right? Even in the year where we had the title challenge, Arsenal finished above us.
Yeah. The year after that wasn't even really. Chelsea just dominated that after January, didn't they? Really,
but the year Leicester won it, we were the closest challengers to Leicester all year, and then Arsenal nipped in and finished second. And by the way, no, Arsenal was still winning multiple trophies at that time. Listen,
because I think that's the key bit, right? I think what people really do miss out on that when we were having our golden era under Pochettino, where we didn't win anything. Arsenal were awful, but winning FA Cup after FA Cup after FA Cup, right? I think people really mistake that. You know, when they say, oh, well, they won nothing and we won something. Arsenal were doing that when they were in their banter era, right? I think we have to be really... Otherwise, we become so disingenuous as football fans, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, this is like straight out of the Matty K playbook. When he's like, we're a bigger football club, so we've won a trophy. So, you know, my first response to him was, okay, so does that mean that Crystal Palace are bigger than Man City because they won the FA Cup? Like,
yeah, sorry, it's madness.
Are we disregarding the 4 Premier League titles for the 4 years before that and Palace are better? Honestly, there's some really... I've never, ever been... I love this. Thank you. You're paying me, by the way. You're paying me. There's no bait here. These are my opinions.
I love it's by design.
Troll, come on, troll. Come and tell me to my face with your no name and no picture. Come on.
Try offering something different to Sim and Ben's positivity. I don't.
No, they're trying.
Big up Ben and Sim, by the way. They're nothing wrong with them. They're top boys.
Basically saying that because of the way I am, that I'm doing it on purpose. Perchy, you know me outside of YouTube. My opinions are this, right? I am like this in real life.
But what I don't get, right, is I want to break this. I love breaking these things apart because so you want everyone to be exactly the same. Isn't that exactly the argument of an echo chamber, that everyone says the same thing and does the same thing? Why don't you come on and have the conversation with it? Like, I don't get it. Like, we're just here to have a debate. I love the chat. Like, everyone has their own niches. That's what makes YouTube so good, right? People go and watch people like Spurs Kings, even though they didn't put me on their YouTuber thing, which we will be having words with. But they do the analytical stuff, which is good. Sean looks at it more of the financial stuff. I don't get why people, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch, right? I think it's the beauty of it. I love it. People moan about it, but then want to watch all the time. I love it.
I'm not reading it. It's just absolutely brilliant.
Glaze them over.
Come on, everybody. Would everyone like to see this troll come on? You gave it the big one. You said, "I'll come on and debate the."
Yeah, come on.
Let's see. Here's the link. Here's the link.
Is this what your phone shows are like? I love this. This is fun.
Mate, honestly, I get great people. When people in my chat go, "Don't fall for the bait," I love this. I absolutely love this. What I'm doing is I'm exposing how dumb 2025 in the world is. I'm exposing human beings in 2025.
The world's gone mad.
It's so Harvey, you asked me the question about can I admit that Bergvall has the potential to be world class? I mean, everyone can say anything they want, right? Do I know if he's got the potential to be world class? I don't know that yet.
But doesn't every player have the potential to be world class? I hear this all the time. Anyone has the potential to be world class, right? Anyone does. Doesn't matter if you're in League Two or if you're in the Premier League, right? Like, I just
Matty
think
K's another one. Do you know what I love? Matty K.
Come on, Matty.
I don't care how old he is.
Man.
Matty K is a big man behind the keyboard. When he comes onto the shows, he shits himself and just says nice things. I'm calling it out. I'm calling it out.
You called him out. I love it.
Honestly, on WhatsApp, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You get him on the show and he goes, oh, hi, can I... Come on, Matty. Come on and talk to me about... you wanted to make a bet with me about Archie Gray, didn't you?
Come on, I want to hear this. I'll mediate that one if you want.
Yeah. Listen, on the whole, Bergvall potential to be world class. I mean, first of all, isn't it about seeing people do something first? Like,
sure.
I've seen this boy play 25, 30 games. I don't know how many games for Spurs. I've seen him do some nice things. I've seen him do some silly things. I've seen him be really ineffective. I don't see him score goals. I don't see him assist. I see him quite rash. You know what? Ultimately, I see Perchy. I see a 19-year-old kid that needs time to learn and develop. I don't know why we want everyone to be world class.
But the problem is we're living in a world where you're great before you are now. Everyone is great before they actually are. Let's just wait for Bergvall. By the way, I like Bergvall. I think he's a good young player. For me, the one thing this season we need to know from Bergvall is what is he? Because I still don't really know what is he. Is he a deep lining midfielder, or is he more of an attacking, or is he more box to box? I think this is a season where we need to really hone in on what he is. Not playing him everywhere, not playing him in a 10, not playing him in a 6, not playing him in 8. Let's work out what he is.
Agreed. Okay. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem is any time a young player has a good run of games or has a great game, everybody just wants to go, oh my God. You've got to remember though, as well, right? You've got to remember, the older you get, the more footballers you've seen to compare these people to. So when people are saying, oh my God, don't you think Bergvall could be world class? I don't. First of all, I don't know. Second of all, you've got to remember the plethora of footballers I've seen that were all like Bergvall at his age.
Yeah.
And hardly any of them go on to be world class, because world class is Rodri. Rodri is a world class midfielder. Do I think Bergvall's going to be Rodri? No, I don't.
Modric.
Right? Modric is world class, right? This is the levels we're now talking about. Could he get to? Sure. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, before we worry about world class, why don't we worry about him nailing down a position in the Spurs team? Yeah. Finding out what he is and him being consistent for Tottenham before we worry about world class. Let's
be fair with you. You will know when Bergvall is on the precipice of being world class, when your Real Madrid, your Man Cities, your Barcelonas are now going, we want this kid in our midfield now, right? It's all well and good Barcelona trying to get him when he's a child and they can play him in La Masia and build him, blah, blah, blah. Let's see how he is in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Then we can have those conversations. The problem is nowadays is the second you sign a kid for X amount of money, all of a sudden they're on this levels of, and I feel sorry for players like Bergvall because they get put under levels of pressure by our fan base. It's not just our fan base. I'm not blaming but it happens across all fan bases. The second a kid comes and plays a few games, they become great again. Like, I remember, what was the fella's name? Played for Man United, not long time ago, quite relatively recent. Everyone was telling me this is the kid, and then they sold him to
Januzaj.
Januzaj is a good example. Wasn't him, but there is great example, by the way.
Yeah.
But there was one that broke into maybe 2 or 3 years ago. That's the one. Do you remember the French lad now plays at Villarreal, by the way? I say he's a good defender, really good defender. Kawambala, the French lad. Remember when he came in, broke into Man United? Everyone went, he's the future of Man United's defence. They sold him for 8 million quid to Villarreal literally the season after. So my point is can players get there? Of course they can, but let's wait for them to get there, right? The problem is what people do is they use the small scale. Makeda's a good example. It's the small scale, right, to outweigh the amount of players that don't make it. Ansu Fati's a great example. Someone put in there. Everyone's saying that. Yeah. By the way, Ansu Fati, everyone was telling me he's going to be the next Messi. Hasn't nailed down anything yet properly. I think he's a good player, by the way, but he's not world class.
I think that the problem is everyone's so desperate to want everyone to be world class, and
yes,
the tag. Do you remember the tag world class used to be associated with the very best?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now it's associated with so and so's had half a good season, right?
Yep.
Now, what we do as well, what we're very good at is when we see a player who does do it year in, year out, we still find ways to knock them. Let's use the best example that there is in the Premier League. Look how much shit these two Man City players get year in, year out.
I better know which one's going to say.
And Phil Foden, right?
Yep. Bang on.
You watch how much shit Erling Haaland, the man breaks records every year with goals scored, right? And yet every time he doesn't score a goal, what do? Everyone wants to go, boom, boom. Let's knock him off that pedestal. What we want to do in human nature is we want everyone to go on that pedestal so we can knock them off it rather than waiting for them to deserve to live up there. And here's an example. Every Spurs fan is so quick. Harry Kane, world class. Harry Kane's the greatest player in the world. Harry Kane's the greatest goal scorer on earth. Harry Kane. Cool. So we all agree we've put Harry Kane at the very top, right, Perchy, on this pedestal. Then when other fan bases, and even fans like me and our fan bases, right, judge him on the pedestal that people have put him on, oh, no, but. No, hang on. You want to put him there? Judge him by there. Yeah? You want to put him there, judge him by there. These players I'm talking about, Haaland, Foden, you could put them on a pedestal. Yeah? They've demonstrated at the highest level. They've demonstrated in Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. These boys have done it. Harry Kane, big games, massive games, didn't show up. Oh, but. Well, don't put him there then.
Yeah.
Don't put him there then. This is the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Man, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. And it's like, it's the whole thing of the whole argument of, great example, Freddie could do, remember that. But no, here's the whole point is that when you hear the whole...
Sorry, he's not. He's not. Matty K, he's not. There's a reason why Phil Foden is at Man City and survived. Matty, Phil Foden is 24, nearly 25, I believe, right? Phil Foden came through that academy in a time where they had David Silva, Gundogan, Aguero, Mahrez, whoever else you want to mention, right? And got into that first team. And there's a reason why Pep did not let him go. There's a reason why he won Premier League Player of the Year. James Maddison's never going to win a Premier League Player of the Year. Is that fair, Perchy?
Mate, Phil Foden, I'm baffled, right? There's a reason why Phil Foden not only plays at the highest level for Man City every week, he plays at the highest level for England every week. Like, but this is the thing, right? If Phil Foden was playing for Tottenham, we'd be saying about him being the best player in the world. This is the problem, right? If Matty's saying if Maddis was at City, you never know, though. But that's a madness. This argument is. It's like me. That argument is like me saying if I don't look out the window, it possibly could be raining. What? It's a madness. What are we doing here? That's mental.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's have a look. See, this is the problem with people like Matty K. As I've said, in chats, he's very vocal, but he wouldn't be able to come on and debate this. And that's the problem, right? So if we look at Phil Foden here, right? Let's have a look. Wow. Right. First of all, Perchy, right? So this is Phil Foden. Let's just have a little look at his Wikipedia page, all right?
This will be fun.
So we could see there, Phil Foden, right? Foden's breakthrough into professional football came in 2017 when he won the FIFA Under-17 World Cup Golden Ball, right? So at the age of 17, he won the Golden Ball, right? He made his debut for Man City during the same year, and in December was named the BBC Young Sport Personality of the Year. Right?
That's not even just football, but
right. So he's not even 18, and he's won the Golden Ball at the Under-17 World Cup, and he was the BBC Young Sports Personality of the Year. Let's scroll down. Foden has since made over 300 appearances for the club, winning 17 honours, including a continental treble, and becoming the youngest recipient of a Premier League winners' medal in 2018. In 19, he won a second Premier League and became the youngest ever goal scorer in the Champions League, and into the youngest English player to both start a match and score in the knockout stages of the competition. He was named as the Premier League Young Player of the Season and the PFA Young Player of the Year in 2024. In 22, he was named the Premier League Young Player and PFA Young Player. 2 years later, in 2024, he was named as the PFA Premier Player of the Season and the PFA Players Player. Right now,
madness.
Let's scroll down and even have a look. Right, he has played 318 games in midfield for Man City and got 99 goals. So he's nearly 1 in 3 from midfield. And he has won 45 England caps. Right? And look what he's won. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups, 1, 2, 3, 4 League Cups, a Champions League, a Super Cup, a FIFA World Club Cup, a FIFA Under-17 World Cup. He's won the FIFA Under-17 World Golden Ball, Premier League Young Player of the Season twice. Sorry, a Premier League Young Player of the Season twice. PFA Young Player of the Year twice. Right? And I've got people in here going, yeah, but he's not that good. And what if James Maddison? Look at those. He's
wild. This is crazy.
By the way, if I'm not wrong, let me just double check. Phil Foden turned 25 a month ago. Look at that career by the age of 25 and look at the hate he gets.
This is crazy.
It is.
And Matty, we've named the achievements to prove your argument absolutely horrific again. This is a horrific take from you. You've had a stinker there. Stinker and go to bed. Bedtime.
Wow. It's madness. I just think, imagine we had Phil Foden. We'd be telling the world. Let's be fair. Our fans are saying Bergfoul, right?
Yeah.
Nothing in football. Look at what Phil Foden's done, breaking through into Man City's team, by the way, and playing over 318 games when they can sign whoever they want. It's I'm truly baffled by how we look at other players of other clubs.
It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Like, I just, like, imagine if Bergvall even did half of that, we'd be saying he's the best thing in the world. Like, madness,
so imagine,
man.
Imagine, Foden is stagnating. Let's make this right. 12 months ago, he was named the Premier League Player of the Year. So that means of every single footballer in the best league in the world, he was voted the best.
This is crazy.
I'm just baffled.
I don't find a lot. I'll be honest. I find comment sections in this crazy. That some of the absolute wild takes I've seen in here by some of you lot. But it's funny, isn't it? You all say it in chat, but you don't have the balls to come and say it. That's the thing, right? None of you lot believe what you're saying. You're doing it to try and win. This is it. And the funny thing is you're creating the content for your stupidity. You're doing everything you don't want to do. You're trying to troll and you're building the content.
Foxy, I just think, listen, by the way, I'm not big up my man Foxy. I always talk sense about football. Foxy, I'm not sitting here saying Phil Foden's the greatest player I've ever seen. It's just, if Phil Foden was playing for Tottenham Hotspur, we'd be telling the world that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But we're belittling everything he's done at Man City. This man was the Premier League Player of the Year in a team that contained Erling Haaland, De Bruyne, Rodri. Like I just think credit where it's due. Many people don't rate Phil Foden, John Fitzpatrick. Many people don't. But again, this is the comment. No offense, Phil, from somebody who doesn't understand football. To play with those top quality players, you've got to be top quality, right? There's a reason he made it into the 11 with those players. Pep Guardiola doesn't keep footballers that can't play. Like this is
hang on.
This is madness.
But this is what I find funny, right? Do you know? This is how I know people don't get the whole point, right? Man City don't keep passengers. Man City don't keep. They don't go. Oh, we're going to keep Phil Foden as a passenger because he's surrounded with quality. Now, if you're not good enough, you're out of here, and we're getting someone in. Look how many players Man City are comfortable letting go every year, and Phil Foden's always one of them that doesn't ever leave. They get rid of now. It's the next one that's going is going to be Jack Grealish. The next one's going to be probably Gundogan. Will be the next that will probably go right. I just find it insane. Like I just find some of you lot in here are wild. Like it is wild, man. Like madness, man. It's funny, isn't it? Man City, who's statistically the greatest team in the last decade. Yeah, we shit on them all the time. It's madness.
By the way, in Phil Foden's terrible season last year, still got 18 goal contributions in a terrible season for Phil Foden, by the way. It's I just getting a bit silly. Okay, I'm just gonna get rid of this guy. It's been rude comment after rude comment. So
Matty, I'm gonna ask you this. We wildly underrate our players. Name me one. Come on, give me a list of players I underrate. This is brilliant, by the way. I love this. Who do I underrate? I don't underrate anyone. I rate them. I don't overrate people. That's the difference, right? I don't overrate people. Now, let's see this one. This will be fun. It's funny, isn't it, right?
I just think it's not about underrating players. I think players have got to do something. So, like, when people are telling me, oh, Bergvall, I see Bergvall and I go, yeah, you got something about you, right?
Yeah, he's a good player.
But he's got to make that position his own this year. This year, make himself one of Thomas Frank's first choice 2 midfielders, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Play every game, get a set position, start adding a few goals and a few assists to your game.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. And then next year, kick on again. But when we're saying we underrate our players, we finished 5th, 8th, and 17th in the last 3 seasons. There must be a reason. There must be a reason. We can't have that all of our players are amazing, but yet we don't. I don't know. I don't know. It's good fun. It's crazy. We are supposed to. People are just judging off the past 2 seasons. Well, you mean the past season? The season before, he was the Premier League Player of the Year. Let's have a look. Big up to Queen Ellie. Queen Ellie Matters. Hello, Savva Perchy. And yes, it is hot, Ellie. It is hot.
Very
hot. It is hot. Yeah, it's all good fun. It's all good fun. I've literally seen 4 trolls. One is this Tells bloke. You can tell because they never say anything remotely nice. I'm just challenging you, little Savva fanboys. You haven't challenged anyone. Come on, challenge us.
He's mad, isn't it? Though he's mad. Like he's a bully, and you lot are acolytes.
Who's a bully?
Because what? Mate, come on. This is the thing, right? All the talk in the chat, man, it's wild. Come on, man.
I don't know what's happened to my channel lately. I don't know I genuinely don't know. Angus, have you got something you want to debate us on?
I want to hear this. This will be good.
I'll bring him on. Angus, you do understand why we put the link in, right?
I was bored. I thought I had to grow some balls. I'll come on, have a chat with you. But if you want me to leave, I can leave. Up to you.
Go on. Hit me with something. I want to hear
it. Where do you think Eze will end up? You or us? Honestly.
Who should I say that again? Eze?
Yeah, what do you think?
Eze, depending on what Eze wants. So, depending on what Eze wants, but I would think that he would go to Arsenal because there's more chance in winning the league with Arsenal than he is with Tottenham right now. But equally, there could be a shift. I don't think there will be. That if Spurs go and say to him, "Well, hang on, you are going to be our talisman, and we are going to build a team around you," then that would be the reasoning why he could potentially pick Tottenham. But I stand by that. I think Arsenal are in a better position for Eze for him to win major honours than Tottenham. That's my opinion.
Do you think along with Eze we can get Rodrigo?
I don't think you're getting Rodrigo in any chance whatsoever.
Why?
I don't think there's any world that you're signing Rodrigo.
Why?
Okay, so
you say this all the time.
Sorry, yeah, but
you say this all the time.
So do you, Angus, and none of the big players that you tell us about ever joined.
But you lost him. We're not this big club. Yes, we are. We're one of the biggest clubs.
No. Hang on.
Angus, I've literally sat here on this show and said you're a bigger club than us. I'm now going to ask you, name it. You did this with Mbappe. You did this with others. Who are these big players you're telling me you're signing?
So we've already got Zubimendi, which I said to you we will get.
Yeah, but you should be buying Zubimendi.
He's not Rodrigo from Real Madrid, is he?
Hang on. This will be good. Who? This will be good. Come on. So you said Zubimendi. You should be buying Zubimendi. That's Arsenal's market. Next.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult right now because I can't really see at the moment until we're through the law.
Look. Hang on. You just sat there and said to Perchy and I, you guys always say this. So I'm asking you to give me examples to prove me wrong. And you've gone, I don't really know. Listen, Arsenal for me, you're bigger than us. I've said it. I think if it's a straight shootout for Eze, for example, between Tottenham and Arsenal, I think that if Spurs manage to get Eze, that would be a magnificent achievement. I think you guys are in pole position. Mm-hmm. But you then moved the conversation away from an Eze and you moved it to Rodrigo, who's a serial Champions League winning, La Liga winning Real Madrid Galactico, right? When was the last time you signed one of them?
Ozil.
Who?
Ozil.
Mesut Ozil. Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, Mesut Ozil, who was out of favour at Real Madrid. Yeah, okay, but Alexis I mean, how many years ago did you sign Mesut Ozil?
2014.
Okay, so we're going back
a decade ago.
A decade ago.
And then, but then it was Aubameyang. Then after that, Lacazette.
Aubameyang you bought from Dortmund, though. That is your market.
Yeah,
Aubameyang is Arsenal's market. Like Gyökeres right now is Arsenal's market, right? They're very similar in that level of what they are. Their next step is to go up a level.
Let's see. There's a long summer to go.
Are you getting in your mind, you're going to get Eze at 68 million, which is his release clause. Rodrigo at 77 million, which is what he's being banded at, right? Yeah. And Gyökeres, who's going to be about 70 million as well. You're telling me that Arsenal are going to go and spend 210 million on those three players?
That's what big clubs do. If you want to win the stuff, you have to...
No. Right, okay. Let me ask the question simply. I didn't ask if that's what big clubs do. I asked, are you telling me that is what Arsenal will do?
Hopefully. But I think we will.
So if you don't even believe it, how are we meant to believe it?
But Angus, this is the key bit for me. This is the key bit with me about the Rodrigo. I think the Rodrigo thing is wild, by the way. That it's a crazy take that you think they're going to get Rodrigo. The question you got to ask yourself, what does Rodrigo... I always say this, right? Why would Rodrigo is not out of favour. That is nonsense. I mean, I don't even need to get the stats. Huh?
Rodrigo's not happy at Real Madrid. He wants to leave.
If Rodrigo is not happy at Real Madrid, you really think that there would be every man and their dog queuing up to sign a Rodrigo. You would have Romano would be talking about it every second of the day. Hang on.
We've been in talks for ages. We've been in talks for ages with him, but you don't know that, do you?
Talks.
We've been in talks for
My
ages
point
with him.
is
behind
this
the
is the
scenes.
thing, right? But this is crazy, right? Because Rodrigo, if what you're saying is right, you've been in talks with him for ages. Why has it never been reported by anyone substantial?
Because behind the scenes, that's why. It's behind the scenes.
So how do you know about it?
Yeah, how do you know about it, though?
So why do you know about it, but Romano, Plettenberg, and Ornstein don't? By the way, talking about Plettenberg, he has just tweeted this. Liverpool are currently focusing on 3 concrete options in their search for a number 9. Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, and Victor Osimhen. Liverpool are not fucking about.
Mate, they are
So
that was good.
So
Thanks
Angus, see, bye Angus, take care. So we've come to the conclusion that Rodrigo is definitely not going to Arsenal. I will buy Angus a Rodrigo Arsenal shirt if he is holding up a shirt. I will buy him and get one sent to his house. They're live on stream. I'm that guaranteed it will never happen.
I believe they could get one. Look, listen, I believe like if they put all their efforts into getting Rodrigo, maybe. But if you're telling me Rodrigo, Gyökeres, and Eze, plus they've already bought Zubimendi, plus they've already bought Kepa, plus they've bought Norgard, that's a lot to weigh out in one window.
But you know how I always look at it from I always try and do transfers from a player's perspective, right? We'll use Rodrigo to Arsenal. Now, the second Rodrigo makes any inkling that he's available this summer, you don't think the likes of PSG, Bayern Munich, do you know what I mean? Like all the Saudi clubs will be putting £1 million a month a week for him down on the table going, we want Rodrigo. Like, so the problem is, no, he didn't get kicked off, mate. He just literally said, I've got to go. He literally said, I've got to go. He did not get kicked off. But my point is that where Arsenal aren't in that market, even the likes of Liverpool aren't in that market, and then they're moving mad in this window. They're trying to get every man and their son at the moment. So I think it's really, really silly.
Listen, look, we'll see. Big up George, my man over at Do Rag Diaries. Please subscribe to him if you haven't. Listen, let's see them go and get it done there. I'll tell you what, if Arsenal do get Eze, Gyökeres, and Rodrigo, then Arteta's got zero excuse to not win a title. Is that fair?
Bang on.
He's got no excuse to not win a title. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool and City aren't strong, but those 3 additions to what is a solid Arsenal back. Arsenal are bloody strong, aren't they, at the back? They are a very good, solid team. If they add those forwards in, that top 3 are going to be miles clear of everyone else.
Aren't they even after another new centre-half? And it Mascara from Valencia. He's an all right defender. All right defender there. That's a good squad depth there.
Yeah. Mascara. By the way, he wasn't kicked off, that guy, by the way. He left. Oh, God. Oh, God. Here we go. Look, somebody wants to debate Perchy.
Behave.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Who, by the way,
he got the cap on and everything. Like, he's on there.
Who still owes me 2 WhatsApp pictures that I'm waiting for, but it's all right, Sean. We can do it.
You'll be waiting until. Listen, I'll let you get over the.
Those sort of WhatsApp pictures, right?
Listen, now I've got one question to ask you, lot. One question to ask you, Perchy. Have you had a couple of beers today, mate? Because you're incredibly lively, mate. You're incredibly.
I've been working all day, my friend.
I feel like the last time I saw you this punchy, mate, you came on my channel for a late night show, and you've been out all day with the missus in London. You gone to the cinema, and you had some cocktails,
and you decided to lose your phone for 3.5 hours.
A little bit lively, bro. A little bit lively.
Hey, I'm here for the lively stuff. I'm here for the lively debates. It's all fun and games, man.
I like it. Now, I want to ask you. I want to ask you this question. I don't know what your takes are on it, but I've been calling you out. Not you specifically, neither of you specifically, but people that might be in the shape, the vase, the kind of the guise of you guys, but not knowing your specific taste. There's definitely fans out there that are doing this. Mohamed Kudus, yay or nay?
Yay.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, then I've got nothing to debate you on.
Mate, Kudos
there's a lot
walked
of people out there. There's a lot of people right now that are going, Mohamed Kudos, massively underwhelming, pass, next. And I'm like, weren't you the same people that last year were saying, listen, I'm not suggesting that we can go out there and buy the likes of Mo Salah, but if you've got 50 million quid to drop on Brennan Johnson, then there's teams out there that are weaker than us, that have spent less than us, that have got a better player than us in Mohamed Kudos. And I mean, Savva, you were one of those people that were saying that. You were one of those people, Perchy, were saying that. But I was like, I don't know if Savva and Perchy have said that they're not interested in Kudos. But if they're not, then I'm going to let them have it.
Sean, do you know the way I see it?
So it's all good.
The way I see it is, I loved him when he was at Ajax, and I was absolutely gutted because in the summer that we got Johnson, they got Kudos. Then I thought he had a brilliant first year for West Ham, and that's why the year that he's just had for West Ham there, which wasn't as good, I'm willing to look at and say, okay, was it because West Ham were a bit of a mess, two different managers, blah, blah, blah. I've watched this boy for a number of years. He would excite the crowd. If you go on to, I've got it here ready to go, actually. Here you go, I can bring this up. Look, let me show you this. He is ridiculous in terms of what you want in a winger. He is absolutely ridiculous in terms of everything we don't have. There you go. Look at that. Look at this guy. His dribbling is 95th percentile. Look, his dribbling, his expected goals, his assists, his attacking actions, his carries. This guy is class.
Do you know the problem is, mate? The problem is, right? First of all, bang on about the disruption. People are calling him a bad apple because he had a bad time last season. But he literally, if you look at on transfer market, it's the amount of time, the amount of different positions that he played last season, and the amount of games that he played in each one. It's like a formation. It's like 8-5-3-2-1-0. It's like he played 8 games at left wing, 5 games at right wing, 4 games as a 10, 3 games as a second striker, 2 games as a striker, 1 game as an 8 as a number 8. Played everywhere. Then you pivot to the FB refs like everyone does, and you're going to go, well, let me look what he's like compared to forwards or compared to wingers or compared to attacking midfielders, whatever. In every one of those departments, whichever one you pick, you're going to be comparing him to. Yeah, look on the right hand side there. You can look at that.
Man, look at left winger 9, centre forward 8, right winger 6, attacking midfield. I'll tell you what. The only person I know that's played in more positions is Archie Gray.
Correct. 100%. Nice little slide.
I don't know what's not attractive about him. People are going,
it's for those people that look
million.
It's those people that look at FB refs and they see a bunch of like sort of relatively small green bars, a lot of orange bars, and a lot of red bars. And the problem is that if you're someone that, as you can see by those stats, that you played a little bit of everywhere, then when you only have one set of data. But look. So how often do you go to FB refs, mate, and you see a player that you can compare to in 3 different positions? So right now, you're comparing him to midfielders. I guarantee if you keep him on the midfielders for a second, keep it on the midfielders. I haven't done this, but if you scroll down, you'll see that he outperforms at his offensive. But I bet you he underperforms massively at the things that midfielders do because he's been asked to play the majority of games in areas that midfielders not asked to play. But if you click on his forward stats, he will underperform. There you go. He will underperform as you scroll down. Right, if you scroll down and click on the everything, all of his maybe you can't do it. I don't know. If you go to go to the view completes. If you go to the view complete scouting report tab and you scroll down, compared to other forwards, he's going to look bang average in loads of departments, loads of red bars. If you keep going down, you'll see loads and loads of red bars because he's played 50% of his minutes not playing as a forward, playing as a midfielder, playing as a left winger, and being asked to do things that forwards aren't asked to do. So if you're someone that just looks at the stats and then hears that West Ham fans think that he down tools, you're going to come to the conclusion, bad apple, shit, not as good as we thought he was, waste of money. But you have to actually
look at the green bars.
Brain. Yeah.
Look at the green bars and now ask yourself, what do you want a wide forward to do? Do I want him passes attempted, pass completion, progressive passing, progressive carries, successful take-ons, 99%. Right?
Exactly. He's everything you want in a winger.
He's everything I want in a winger. And do you know what? As well,
on the occasion that we have injuries that he needs to play somewhere else, he can do that too.
Of course, exactly. Because you could play him as your 10. You could play him as your 7 on the right as well. Like, look for me, I've always said I like Kudos. I was upset. I was disappointed that he went to West Ham at the time. I thought he was the one that I went go and get him at the time. look, the problem what we are, and I think we touched on this at the top of the show. Probably didn't. I don't know if you saw, Sean, but basically because what we are now, we've become so attached to Eze that no one else is now good enough to play at Spurs unless your name is Eberiche Eze. But there's so many good players out there. Look, for me, Kudus was in that mix of players that I said at the time that if you can go and get an attacking player, he would be in the mix. In your mixes of your Semenyos, your Eze's, Kudus. There's a few others also in that conversation. But,
do you think there's any chance that he could be a here we go tonight? Because
don't. I said because when we hit the first. When we hit the 1st of July, Sean, everyone's coming in, mate. Tomorrow is the day.
But I'm saying literally, is there a chance? Because West Ham are tucked behind some massive 8 balls with their FFP. That whole Jacob Ramsey story was all about, you know, are Aston Villa going to do something because they need to get themselves out of a jam, but West Ham can't do it because they're in a jam. Therefore, Tottenham are maybe going to do it. But then in the end, Aston Villa just went and sold their left arm to their right arm in women's football for 40 million quid. It's an absolute disgrace, by the way. Don't get me started on that. It's an absolute disgrace. But
you're talking about my Villa?
Talking about your Aston Villa, mate. Yeah, I used to sit there and go, I feel sorry for them a little bit about what happened to them the last game of the season. They got robbed by a bad refereeing decision. But actually,
it's great.
Mate,
I love the idea.
You know what? If we live by this rule, apparently we don't want anyone from Arsenal. We can't take Chelsea players. We don't want to take anyone from West Ham, right? Oh, is there any clubs we're allowed to take players from? If you suggest Man City players, I'm told
just Real Madrid, but only their best players.
But you can't sign anywhere from other leagues, by the way, because they're not good enough. They're all Farmers League.
Yeah, just City. Yeah.
Oh no,
only Mo Salah and only Liverpool when he's just signed a new contract. That's the only way that Tottenham really show that their teeth. They mean business.
I think this guy is waiting to explode to show his talent. For me, he is.
He's everything Spurs fans would love.
He's one of the best in the country. His skill and his dribbling. Now, I think that if you turn around and say, you're my guy, you're going to be our right-sided player who cuts in on the left, or you're on my number 10, whatever you do with him, I think you get the best out of him, and I think Frank would get the best out. I'm all over it. I don't care if it's 60 or 70, get him.
Do you think that I'm not saying that there isn't, but I know I'm going to get clipped up as though Sean said that there was going to be a here we go tonight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the fact that it came from nowhere to Ornstein and Romano talking about it, and then Graham Bailey's come out and said actually it's very advanced and yada yada yada, and Tottenham are head and shoulders. Do you think that there's any chance that because of West Ham's plight that Tottenham might do the deal now and do like a structured payment deal? I just wonder whether it's more advanced because Johan Lang doesn't let anyone know anything until things are almost done. So,
well, look, maybe look, we don't know. I mean, for the sake of Spurs YouTube, you probably hope it was something there. But,
I say don't clip it. But if something did happen in the next 4 hours, I would be saying clip it, and I'd be editing it to saying I think it's going to happen rather than I don't think. I'm going to be removing the word "don't" from my words just so I can be right.
I think Kudus is one of those players that right now Spurs fans are going, oh no, he's not that good, he's not that great, blah blah blah. He plays at West Ham, he was crap last season. When they watch him, will go, he's one of my favourite players at Tottenham. He'll be a click of a finger, right? Because you watch him play, he is closer to the Maverick side of things. And look, West Ham will, if they need the money, West Ham will sell. Right? If they have to, if what Sean said about the whole money side of things is true, and they need to avoid getting any problems financially in the sense of the points deductions, then yeah, they will, because he's an asset they can get the money for, right? Look, I like Kudus. I just think it's crazy.
Excite the fans as well. For me, I think he'd be the first player we've had for about a decade that truly excites the fans, that gets the ball on the wing and then most of the stand, everyone stands up and what's he going to do with it? We haven't had that for a long time. The worry is going to be for me is that the moment Chelsea are involved, we could all sit here and go, they've got loads of players. But when Chelsea want something, they are like that rich kid at school, aren't they? That they get it. So for me, if Chelsea want him, I think they get him.
Look, I know I'll be I'm not. I don't want people to clip and start saying that it won't happen. But for me, like if Chelsea go and put another 60 million quid down and buy Kudos. You almost have to applaud it at this point. I mean, they literally just spent 100 million quid on Bino Gittins and João Pedro, and imagine then today they go and put another 67.
And the rest.
No. I'm just talking. I'm just talking about the lot.
They're ruining football.
I'm just talking about the last 2 days, by the way. I'm not talking about any other day. Last 2 days, they spent 105 million quid.
It's a disgrace what they're doing. It's an absolute disgrace.
Sean sounds like the kid at school that didn't have the toy that all the rich kid had all the toys. I hate him. He has all the toys that mummy bought him.
No. But mummy didn't buy it. Mummy stole it. Mummy stole it. That's the difference.
Mummy stole it. Mummy didn't buy my pick a mix. She stole it from Woolworths. She just stole it.
That's the difference.
I'm going old school. Last time I used the word mummy, I was probably shopping in Woolworths. But for me, honestly, guys, by the way, he's not my number one choice. He's not my one and only, but that is the strongest link we've got at the moment, isn't it, guys? Kudos is the strongest link we've got. Now all of the reports are being watered down. All the reports are saying Arsenal are now in talks. Spurs have cooled interest. Do you mean cooled interest from what? Cooled interest from not bidding for him? Like, you can't cool your interest if you're
the player is 100%. I think with Eze, the player has said, I would rather go to Arsenal.
Would you take no. But would it like, how did the people that are perennially miserable, right? How do the misery merchants of Tottenham fan base cope if Tottenham, if by this time next week Tottenham have got Eze playing on the right and Eze playing on the left and Kudos playing on the right? How do they cope? How do they cope with forcing themselves to be happy?
Because they can say that we haven't signed Rodrigo from Real Madrid.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But look, I think
love it. I would just love it if Daniel Levy's he's been quiet, go about his business. Yeah, I hear you, and then you just bomber Eze.
I said it. Look, I'm telling you now. Tomorrow's the day where we sign about 1,000,001 players.
Do you love me now? Do you love me now, Tottenham fans? And then some fans be like, no, because I didn't want Mourinho. I wanted Martin Heumann. And
I can only, if he does it, I can only turn around and go, brilliant. That's what I wanted you to do. Over to the manager. That's for me. Yeah. I don't think we need to always find ways to be miserable. If he does it, he does it. If he doesn't, though, Sean, it's gonna be.
If he doesn't,
it's gonna be horrible, isn't it? By the way, Matty K, just so you know, people like Scotty Parker came from West Ham, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Defoe, they all didn't do too badly for Tottenham, did they? Those
Freddie
lads?
Canute?
Oh, good player. Good player, Freddie Canute. Really underrated player. But yeah, listen, I think Frank would do with Kudos what he's just done with Mbuemo. I think he'd turn him into that prolific scoring wide man that terrorizes defenses. I truly believe he would, Sean. And I said earlier on my show that for the first time in a long time, left backs that are facing Tottenham will actually start thinking about they're going to be in a game because we've got a right winger that wants to run at them as opposed to Brennan Johnson, who is the easiest winger to play against from a wide man perspective, right? Is that fair?
I almost feel like Brennan Johnson's been playing 4D chess the whole time. He's so he's so unbelievably boring to play against that eventually the opposition turn off a little bit, and they go like, I'm just going to switch off because he's not doing anything, and then he rocks up at the back post.
And 4D chess, I like that.
I love that.
With a little creep. He's one of those that feigns injury and then taps it in at the back post.
Yeah, exactly. 100% exactly what he's doing, yeah.
Well, Daigle said to me earlier when we were talking about Kudos, because the news broke when we were live, and he said, how long until we get the message coming out going, Tottenham and West Ham are just 5 million away in valuation for Mohamed Kudos. And then the very next day, Chelsea, here we go, Mohamed Kudos. So they've gotten in overnight. That's the worry, right? It's these bigger clubs.
No, that's just Daigle being Daigle. That's just he's playing to his base there. You know, that's what Daigle does, isn't it? I remember Daigle. I love Daigle to pieces. I remember me, Daigle, Matt. What was the guy's name? Matty something, who was on Last Word on Spurs for a while. The Irish guy, Dave.
Matty Hayes.
Matty Hayes. Yeah, myself. It was me, Irish Hotspur, Matty Hayes, Daigle, and Jack Kinnicky. that were on. It was like January 23, I think it was. I'd been in the community like a couple of months or whatever, and it was the season. It was the window when we'd signed Benson, Core, and Kulusevski on the last day of the season, and we were all doing deadline day in January on Irish Hotspurs channel. And when the news broke through that we'd signed Kulusevski and Bentancur on the last day, 4 of us were jumping up and down like, yeah! Brian Daigle couldn't hide. He couldn't hide his absolute disgust. Because he'd planned like a protest for the first.
Oh, I remember, I remember him telling me about this, yeah.
And he was so caught up in it. I said to him, I was like, mate, you're not coming across like you're really into top. You care more about, about your Levy out thing. And he's like, no, I'm obviously happy, but it's just, it's just typical Daniel Levy to do it last minute when I was getting excited about a big protest. I love him though. He's a great guy. Great guy.
Just quickly, by the way, Matty K, I love Matty K. He said, there's at least 5 wingers I'd rather have over Kudus. So Eze, Gibbs-White, Semenyo, and Bremo Visser. The problem you've got there is Eze is not a winger. Morgan Gibbs-White is not a winger. And Buemo has said he's going to Man United or staying at Brentford, and Visser is a striker. So the problem you've got there, Matty, you've named 2 wingers. The only one that would be possible is Semenyo. That's the problem you've got. I don't think this is a bad selection of players, by the way, but
Gibbs-White isn't a winger. Yeah. Then you've got if you're gonna use wingers, you've got to use wingers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what, Adam? Guess what? You're about to be placed in another timeout. Oh, you won the raffle twice in a row. Oh, look at you. Well done. Congratulations. But yeah, listen.
I don't have any of this trouble with my channel.
Honestly.
How many people do time out and do it out a day?
Today, I've just got 4 or 5 in that are just...
You'd probably be on 50,000 subscribers if you weren't kicking people out every 5 minutes.
Mate, I'm not only timed him out. He's, I timed him. Paul O'Keefe apparently said, I haven't seen it, but apparently Paul O'Keefe said earlier, guys, that we had a £50 million bid rejected. Watch out, he's coming in hot.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Coming in hot with his ice cream, his cornetto.
I better go and get a shield. Quickly. I don't want to take any more pelters from Alex.
That was hilarious. Do we believe that we bid 50 million the other day?
Well, I can't access Paul O'Keefe. Paul O'Keefe blocked me whilst I was live on the stream, so I don't have access to his information anymore. So I don't know.
Why did he block you?
I don't know. No, what happened? I think, Savva, you were on the stream with me. Me, you. I think was it Perchy? You might know. It wasn't Perchy. Me, you.
Wasn't me.
There was a few people on the stream, and we were having a conversation. I was bringing up like Twitter at the same time, and I had his sort of like tweet to go through about a player. But you guys were involved in some argument or debate or like whatever with other people, and so there was an argument that was going on while his tweet was up. And then we hadn't even mentioned the tweet. And then suddenly Twitter refreshed and it went, this tweet has now been blocked. You can't see Paul. I was like, live on air. I was blocked. I was like, what the fuck?
Do you know who I'm blocked? Do you know who I'm blocked from? And I've never been on his show and I've never talked to him, but I'm blocked because if I comment in his chat, it doesn't show up. He's Chris Cowling.
Well, I've been blocked by, I was blocked after I probably had like 300 subscribers. I was probably a YouTuber for about 6 weeks, and I was blocked by the boy Hotspur or Hotspur Boy or whatever it's called, whatever his name is. That guy. He blocked me. I don't even know. I never spoke to him. Never even knew who he was. It was only later on I found out. But yeah, there's lots of blockings that go on, mate. There's more blocks than an NFL linebacker.
I haven't got any YouTubers blocked because I always welcome YouTubers on, right? Like I always sit here and say, hang on, who's at my front door? Oh, the wife. I always say, who's at my front door? There's only one other person with a key. I don't block other YouTubers because I always say, hey, this is an open channel. Come on. Alex, you have come on. What did you want to say? Did you want to have a banter Sean again? Because you absolutely bust him up in that debate.
Here we go.
I'm in a good mood today, so I don't need to bust up again, man. I rattled him last time, didn't I? You know what I mean? It's a nice sunny day outside. You know what I mean? But You know what I mean?
So,
Just
For you, Alex,
basically,
I'm in
the
a
girl
miserable
that put
mood,
you in a
mate.
bad mood on Saturday night. You've made up with her since, and now you're in a good mood.
Yeah.
I wish that was true, Savva. I wish that was true, Savva. You know what I mean? You might not know. You know what I mean? I might be playing you. I might be having a girlfriend in the background. You don't know, Rob. You know what I mean? You don't know. You know, I'm all about mysteries. You know what I mean? Like Tottenham Hotspur, like the
Are we going to
transfer
get
window.
a Fabrizio Romano? Here we go on the misses.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? You know, that'd be.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be wicked.
But back on the football, I've got to say this kudos thing is very interesting for me. But what were you talking about? Sorry, I've just been at gym. You know, benching. You know what I mean? Because I've got. You know, sometimes football's not really that important. Sometimes, you know, you got to bench and make yourself look good. You know what I mean? So,
It's the hench office.
what were you talking about? So I'm not off topic.
Alex,
Sorry about
Alex,
that.
listen to yourself. Right, back to the football. Yeah, sorry guys. What were you talking about? I've been benching because sometimes life's more important than football. You've got to bench. I'm so confused. Right, Alex, we were talking about Mohamed Kudus. And whether or not we've bid for, apparently we bid 50 million for him. Would you want him, Alex? Start with that. Do you like him? Would you want him?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad I went on Kudos. Yeah, I was just wondering, I just making sure I was on topic. But yeah, Kudos. Yes, definitely. I think. I think I need to ask a question. Do you like Salah? For instance?
Mo Salah?
Yeah.
Yes.
I reckon he gets in our team. Yeah.
So
just about.
What did Liverpool do with Salah? Because Salah doesn't like to defend. They put defenders around. They put players around him, so he let him do what he wants to do. So that's what Tottenham Hotspur need to do. You know what I mean? Like Kudos, give him the free reign. Let him have do what he wants to do.
No, you don't need to give him the free reign. He's very good at defensive work. Very good at defense. He's not like a lazy little git who waits for the ball. He gets stuck in.
Really?
He's not someone that is afraid to press, that doesn't put in a shift. He's not that sort of player.
But what I'm saying is that you want to get the best out of him attacking wise anyway. So if you've got that problem, if he's not doing enough work defensively, make sure you put players around. Put some players around him too, so he doesn't need to do that, and let him, try and do what he needs to do. You know what I mean? Because I think you can get. I think the problem I have at the moment with Tottenham fans, and I think fans in general, I think when a player's good and they've gone off form, they just completely discard that player for some reason, and I think
That's a good point.
It's very bad. You can't dismiss somebody. I think we're in this era because we're playing this speedy football. It's got to be. You've got to be pacey and all that, and got all this energy. But sometimes you've got those players that just need a little different environment. A manager that, like a Harry Redknapp or a O'Neill or Sam Allardyce, that just takes them under their wing. Just put their arm around them, and then you can see what they can do. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can just different environments may get the different results out of different plays. You see what I'm saying? So Tottenham have to take that risk.
I do agree with you on this. I do think we're very quick in football that if a player plays well and then they have a bad year or a bad 6 months, they're shit now, they're finished, they're done. I agree with you. Sometimes something new. We've all had it. We've all had jobs, right, where it's shit and it's not going well and you haven't felt yourself. And then suddenly you get a new job and you've got new workmates and you're in a new office and you're in a new location and you perk up a bit and you find your form again in life. So I agree with you. I think he's a talented player, Alex. I think he does work hard, but equally, I think what him being left-footed would allow us to do is actually have him on the right wing, he'll cut in and allow Porro to actually stop cutting in and allow Porro to go on the outside and whip crosses in. I think that works for all concerned, for me.
And we have to take risks at the moment with certain players that are looked as like a Sancho or a Grealish or someone like that who's been at a big club and they're not on form and they've got to leave, and you've got to take that risk with that player because you can't go for the big players because they're too far away from us at the moment. We've got too many young players, like we've already said already, too many kids. So for me, if I was me at the moment, because we're in Champions at the moment, you've got to take a risk. I think you've got to take a calculator. And you've got a coach as well with Thomas Frank as well. You know what I mean? Sorry to interrupt you, Perchy. Big up.
No,
By the way,
no.
it's good to see you, Perchy. By the way, good to see you, Perchy. By the way, good to see
Thanks,
you back. By the way, but you know,
Good to see you too, Alex. Good to see you too, mate.
you're good to
Hi,
see you,
Alex.
Sean, as well. Good to see you, Sean, as well. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's had to give you that, Mr. Box Office, bruv. I know you like that, but
who can bench more, you or Perchy? Who's benching more these days?
Nah, he's definitely benching more than me.
no, I'm benching a lot, mate. I'll tell you that for a fact. But
What are you benching, Alex?
What are you
Get
benching?
the ladies out there excited. What are you benching?
Let's know. What are you benching?
What is it? Oh gosh, what is it now? 50 or something like that.
8% of my viewing figures every month are females. So you've got an 8% audience there to really impress.
I know one or two from my channel as well. Polly Cooper, she's a little ratatata. She wants some slice of you, mate.
Oh, thank you, mate. But mate, mate, I don't do online dating, Bob. I do it face to face, mate. You know what I mean? You know that's
we
me.
can do it
Bob.
live on a show. We can have
No.
She's a surfer. She's a swimming teacher, mate. She takes you in there. You get to show off your body in the sea.
Like George said, you've just got back from the gym where you've been benching, but you forgot what you've been benching. You was only there half an hour ago.
We should do one night instead of having debate Savva or debate Perchy. It should be date Alex. That should be the next show.
Yes.
Oh, good,
and then we just got to get people on to see if they can woo the box office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe in another lifetime.
That's a show.
But I don't want to take too much of your time because if other people might be in the background, I want them to have their say. I've got my business.
There's no one. We're all here for you, Alex.
Thank goodness.
I was going to leave when you came in, then I thought, wait a minute, I want to hear what Alex is benching. So
someone
hang
said
around.
no likey. I'm cracking up.
I'm big up Jaws, by the way, every single time, Bob. Even though he's deluded, I love him, man. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Yeah, Jaws. Yeah, big up to him. And you should subscribe to his channel as well, by the way.
Oh, is George deluded? I always feel George is. I do a show once a week with George. So I think George is a great.
No, he's all right. I'm only joking with you, but I still think he loves Burger. He loves Burger a bit, so he's deluded. But anyway, I love him though. He's still good. He's a good guy, good geezer.
Yeah,
so, you know what I mean?
What's about liking Bergval?
I think Burval's overhyped, mate. I think he's overhyped. I really do. I think I need to see more of him. I need to see him grow. I think he might grow next season, but I do think we need competition for him as well. I don't like this whole thing about him getting the free reign. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Who said that?
Can I ask the important questions that some of the ladies and maybe some of the boys would like to know?
Well.
Do you go to the gym at the same time every day? And which gym can these people find you at?
No, you're not gonna get to know that. Bloody hell! What gym I'm gonna go to? No, definitely not gonna know that.
No, but
you're not gonna get to know that. Definitely not. Bloody hell, not on the internet.
Alex, you've always said we have to get to know. So how do we get to know unless you're going to give up the information, bro? Where can we find you?
What I would say is, if you want to go to a Soko event, maybe you see me there. Maybe you know what I mean. That's not having a dig at you, by the way, Savva. And by the way, I was having a dig at you earlier in the comments, by the way, just to make that clear. You know what I mean? I was just commenting. But you trigger
Alex,
people. You know what I mean?
You're forever apologising for things you've not done.
I'm still waiting for the point.
No,
what do you bench?
Yeah, I go to the gym. Like nearly every day, and that's it. Really, I can't tell you what gym I'll go to because then you don't know what's going to happen.
What do you? How many kilograms are on your bench?
I think it's 10. I think it's 15. Oh.
10 and 10 on both sides. That's it.
Yeah, 10 on both sides. Yeah.
This is like me not remembering what I had for lunch at 1
I'm pretty sure Bugsy Malone could bench 10 kilograms on both sides, mate. It's not a lot.
Oh, this is amazing.
I love this. By the way,
waiting for the footballing point.
Savva, can you block Matty K? He thinks Kudus and Johnson are on the same level. Matty, you've had a nightmare there, mate.
Matty's had a mare in the chat today.
You've had a nightmare there, mate.
Have you ever given
Has he finished his exams?
Have you ever timed out
his exams?
Is he what?
Has he finished his exams? Has he finished his exams?
He has finished his
Massive day.
exams, yeah.
Oh, thank
He's
goodness. Thank
He's
goodness.
now studying every day to understand football. So it's not going very well, apparently. It's not going
Have
very
you
well.
ever timed out Matty K?
Yeah.
Huh?
You've timed out a child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he knows why I timed him out. Because he was getting very rowdy
Put
to
him
a
on
lot
the
of
naughty
older
step.
people.
I'm going to
and
do
he
what
needed-
your father should have done a long time ago, son.
And he needed to just calm it down. I always think, if you say something to somebody in the chat, you got to think, would you say it to them in real life? Right? Would you say it to them? And I think Matty's calmed down a bit. Since he's finished his exams, he's matured. He's getting there. And he even went for lunch with Perchy once, didn't he, Perchy?
I say he went for lunch. He was. I think his father, his office is near where
Did you
my
go for
office
lunch
is.
with Matty K?
Yeah, I went for lunch and
There
he
you
was
go.
there, if that counts.
Oh, you're distancing. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's so rude. I met him, but it was just.
Nah,
it was
I'll tell you what, though.
It's a little bit
Matty
disrespectful there.
Matty is the most indecisive human being I've ever met in my life.
Oh, yeah. I love him. I love him.
I've got half an hour for lunch. What are you getting? Down Leather Lane, there's a load of food. Go down there. Oh, I don't know. I haven't got time for I don't know. So I've got work to do.
Oh, look, we got all of Spurs YouTube rocking up, and we got E coming in. Have you come in to boast about what you're benching at the gym, or?
No, I heard you say we should talk to people in the chat how we do in real life, and I figured that's exactly what I don't do. So I thought, you know what, the best thing to do is actually to finally face my fears and talk to people. Like I should talk to people in real life. I'll talk to people on the panel. So you know what, I'm coming out of my antisocial shell for a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
Well, you got to say that, Elijah. Who is it you want to call out on the panel?
Please be sure.
I mean,
please be sure.
I'll call out anyone. I don't mind in it.
Come on.
I'm going to call you out, bro, because I saw your content. Someone sent me a clip. I think Lubo actually sent me a clip of you doing the Spurs talk show tier ranks. And
you didn't even put me in it.
You put me in the all right category, and it was so like you and your friend gave me like about half a second's worth of consideration. It came across like neither of you have ever watched my channel, and both of you were going, "Well, don't really know. We'll just put him in the all right camp."
I can't lie. I've watched maybe like 2 or 3 of your streams, but it's easy to not watch your streams. I'll be real.
Elijah, you didn't put me in.
It's easy to not
include me then. If you don't know me, don't include me, Elijah.
It's easy to not watch his channel. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But no, on the real, I did take that. Everyone I included, I took the time out to actually go. I can't speak for Jay in it, but I took the time to go and watch everyone that I included in it. But like obviously, like on stream, like we spoke about it a bit more for different YouTubers, but like when I'm making a video, I didn't want it to be like 40-50 minutes long. I wanted it to be somewhat short enough, so everyone kind of got maybe like 10-20 seconds, to be honest, unless it was like someone specific.
Forget Sean. I'll forget Sean. No one cares about him. You put me in the GOAT section, so I think it was a wonderful stream. I truly liked how you ranked everybody.
I turned off. It was only afterwards that I heard about me getting put in the all right camp. As soon as I saw you put him in the GOAT category, I was like, yeah, this guy's a busted flush. He ain't got a fucking clue what he's talking about.
Hey, to be fair, that was Jay in it. I put him pretty good.
In the 97th minute. In the 97th minute, I think Jay turned around and went, "Oh, actually, no, Savva should be in there." And I was like, "Get in there, Savva. Go on."
It was a Lucas Moura versus Ajax last minute goal, man.
Lucas Moura versus Ajax.
Is that the basis of why you were so angry with Marlon and Ash for not giving you the option to be in the goated category? No, but Elijah and Jay put me in the goated category. Therefore, I've got to get a place in your goated category too.
One thing I will say, Marlon and Ash, I'm biased towards them, and I'm very biased. So they would have been in the GOAT category for me regardless. I'm biased.
Talking about shots being fired at people, this has got to go down as an amazing one, hasn't it? I love how some are laughing, yet people don't step in the gym. I'm looking at you, Perchy. And who is this, please, Perchy? Is this your other half?
This is my favourable other half. I do love her to bits. Thanks for that.
Oh, man.
I do need to get
you out in front of like 500 people.
I had about 5 iterations ago around getting some graphics done for my channel. That was about 1.5 years ago, Susan.
Yeah, you did. You actually, she's got a big problem with you, Sean, because you ignored her when she sent her all the message.
I didn't call her. She didn't call me back.
Should we just make this?
Don't try that one.
You're dead to me. I'll catch you in the gym.
Should we make this show the roast of Sean Butler? Like a Comedy Central special, the roast of Sean Butler.
Oh, that would be. Oh, we should. That would be brilliant. By the way,
As if
And
you guys can roast me.
Nubo's here.
Can I ask Perchy, when did you get back from Bilbao? You're obviously home now.
I got back a long time ago, my friend.
Okay.
Oh, I love it.
I heard you were hitchhiking across Europe. Last thing I was told. I told you were hitchhiking across Europe.
Come on.
Get him on. I got some bones to pick with Durag with old George.
This has just become the.
Get him on.
Any Spurs
calling that
YouTuber
everyone.
just
I'll
rock up
go
right
get
now.
myself a cider because I can't handle like B-Tech level banter without a drink to make it seem a little bit more funny. I'll be back in a minute. I'll be back in a minute. 1 second.
Has anyone talked about football for about 20 minutes? I don't think we talked about anything
but
football.
this is better than
I'm barely a football channel, Savva. I can't lie. I'm barely a football channel.
Barely a football channel.
Barely.
Elijah, every night when I get into bed, right, and I'm scrolling through YouTube, I think, is anyone on? I always see, is it a little conversation before bed with E, and I always turn you on for a few minutes. It's very soothing, and then after that, I always go over to Lee Gunner, and it's the complete opposite. It's just people going
It's just chaos,
crazy at each other. So we've got to weigh these things out. Nubo, do you think you could bench press more than Mr. Box Office? That's the important question right now.
Probably not.
I reckon you could.
Not. Sorry, he's over 30 years younger. What do you expect?
No, I truly believe you can. I don't believe that when Box Office says I've just got back from the gym, but he's got a cornetto in his mouth. I don't know. I'm not quite like. What,
I'm still here, by the way.
But Alex, so you've got in from the gym and you thought, I'll make myself a nice protein shake. Actually, there's a chocolate cornetto. I'll have that instead. Is that what's happening?
I'm still in the room, by the way.
Listen,
we know you're here.
I've heard, Sam. I've heard he's in massive training for the next series.
Alex,
Won't it be called Brother Island?
will vote for you every single night on Love Island.
Brother Island, yeah.
Brother Island.
I vote.
Do you know what I mean, bruv? You know what I mean, bruv?
We all vote for you.
Alex, can you promise me something? If you ever go on Love Island, when they announce you, I don't want you announced as Alex. I want it to be as our next contestant is Mr. Box Office, the main event. That's all I want you announced.
The racing
And
killer.
I want to see an 8-pack. I want to see you flexing your pecs, and I want to see you doing some soca with all the girls. That's what I want to see, Alex.
We will. Every Spurs YouTuber will do a watch along of Love Island if you're on it. I will do a watch along whilst you're on it, 100%.
By the way, if you actually want an in, there's a guy who lives about 5 doors down from me, whose name is Billy something, who came 3rd or 4th on Love Island a couple of years ago. So I do have the in, Alex. So let me know, mate. I can connect you with the producers and all that stuff via him. So.
But Alex,
look.
Here we go.
When you chat
Come
them
on,
up,
George,
Alex,
who you got a problem with?
Well, I did say I have a problem with Sean. I didn't really, but I thought someone needs to have a problem with Sean, so I will, whilst Alex pulled out of it,
The thing is, George, is that Alex has learned many a time that he comes on with a problem and soon realizes that it's not a problem that he really wants to have is with me, because I'll bury him in the banter.
I'm still trying to wait for Alex's point from earlier.
You haven't figured that out yet, George, I'll bury you too. It's easy, mate.
I don't think you'll get me. I don't think you'll get me, Sean. I think I've been calloused on too many panel shows with rivals. You can't bury me. It'll take a very long time.
Listen, what I'll do is I'll give you a space so you can dig yourself out, okay? Not a problem, my mate. Not a problem. Not a problem.
Sean, you know this drink I'm drinking right now? This is your tears because you chat absolute waffle. Honestly, don't chat crap. Honestly, I've never
urine, mate.
Crap in my whole life. Bloody hell.
What is that?
What are you
No,
drinking?
it definitely does look a bit like piss.
Yeah,
It's
it
I was going to say.
I mean, it's going in one way and it's definitely coming out the same way whenever you're on a show. Because let's have it right, Alex. Yeah, how many times have you come on a show? You go, I'm gonna crash it, and you've crashed nothing. You've crashed yourself into the bloody wall. You came on.
Smoke, man.
There was one. No, there was one. And Alex knows I'm gonna cook him. I've been cooking for this whole season. But he came on the show last week and he's going, do you know what? Yeah, Ben Davies and Dragusin was our best centre-back partnership all season. And I was like, from that point, I've got nothing to hear from Alex because I can't take him serious. I actually didn't know whether you're being serious on that one. If you can clarify now, Alex, if you want to take it back, it's fine. But definitely something to bear on that matter.
No, but look, no, I think Dave. No, I don't rate Davis. I think Dragusin. I think Dragusin gets a lot.
What are you saying, Alex? Get it out, bro. Spit it out.
I don't rate Ben Davis. No, I don't. But I think he gets a lot of flack, and yeah, I think he needs to go. Yes, but let's be honest here, right? Romero was wanting last season. Okay, Van der Ven. He was unlucky with injuries, but we all know his hamstring's going to always tick. Everyone's slating Dragusin like he's the worst defender in the world when he's not. So I just don't agree. I just don't agree with it. I don't think that's a bad take, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I just think this is.
Wait, I'm still trying to work out what the take was. Wait, hang on. What was the take? Do you think that Dragusin and Davis were our best defenders last season? Was that your take?
Well, I think they were that. I think they were bad in certain games. Yeah, but maybe the way I said it was wrong. But I won't take it back. No, I won't say that. I'm not slating them like some people.
They weren't our best defenders. They weren't horrific.
That's not what happened.
That's not what happened. What exactly? You was there.
No, trust me. All I did on that stream was listen and not say shit, bro. That's not what he said, bro.
No, Alex ties him up in his words into a pretzel every time. It's beautiful. You let them out. You let my man Alex.
I agree with you.
He said that they are our best centre-back pair.
The way I said it was wrong. But I'm not gonna go back on what I said. I think Davis I still think Davis, right, is a better defender. Has been good. This was okay last season. You know, he saved us a lot last season.
Ben Davis is. I agree with you. Ben Davis. I don't know who you were comparing him to, but you're probably right because most people, if you were fighting against another trend, which is the trend is always everyone hated on Eric Dyer. Everyone then put in Eric Dyer and Ben Davies in the same conversation. Eric Dyer goes to Bayern Munich, smashes it out of the park. He's a Bundesliga winner. Ben Davies, dependable Ben. Everyone is so unbelievably harsh on Ben Davies. Unbelievably harsh. Who the fuck is that?
He still needs to go.
Sorry, what is this?
He needs to go.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy at the bottom? What the fuck is that?
What?
Sorry, mate, you speak.
I actually thought I was
stupid nigger. Son of a bitch! I
Oh,
hate
yo,
and you.
Okay, bro. Okay, what the fuck in the AI shit is that, bro?
No, that was some AI stuff. That was wild.
Definitely AI. I was so confused.
What was that all about?
Is the question though? Like,
what was he saying? Who brought him in and who kicked him out? By the way,
I don't know.
Oh, I did. Don't worry, I did that.
Oh,
who the hell was that?
Was he being racist?
It was just some random person, I guess.
I thought it was Jacob coming on, and then it's just some.
I can't lie. It's not like Savva's gonna get banned, so it's fine. He's not gonna get banned.
That was AI. I was waiting for someone to do something well dodgy. That was someone dodgy. Nah. Because all they do is they switch camera and then it destroys a channel, man. I know how this stuff works, man.
Well, yeah. I don't know what happened there.
So it's fine.
Savva, you just missed a while.
Someone dodges in the back, man. There's something dodge going on in the background.
You're gonna have to watch it back on screen. So.
Be careful,
nigga.
No, don't bring him up.
Don't bring him up.
Don't bring him up. We don't know who he is.
Don't bring him up, bro.
We think it's AI.
It was a bit weird.
He's spamming the hard R, bro. Don't.
It was a bit weird.
Oh, was he actually? That's mad. I didn't even
hear. You're on mute. You're on mute, Sav.
Yeah, some AI thing in it.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I thought that was someone. Oh, okay. Anyway, what did I miss?
That's what you missed.
You need to go back and watch it, Savva.
It's all right. Just once you get the YouTube studio notification, just trim out the live stream. You'll be fine. You're not gonna get no strikes or nothing for that.
No one done anything.
I don't think it came through clear anyway. But...
No, it didn't. It was so. There's so many people talking.
Yeah.
Oh, did they say something?
I heard it, but it was.
Yeah, it was just.
I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out.
Yeah,
it's all right.
to cut it, but it's fine.
So who's been roasted then since I've been gone?
Alex.
We're still trying
Basically-
to understand Alex's point that Dragoshin and Davis are our best defenders.
Right. So what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that Davis and Dragus. Maybe I said it wrong at the time, right? Because I wanted to rattle some people in George's show, which I did, and I did really well in doing that. So the point I'm making is is that
pat on the back, quick pat on the back.
no, because I bench enough to pat myself on the back, mate. The point is though,
Still didn't say what he benched.
but
It's still a
getting back
mystery,
onto the
man.
point, I think people
Still a
slate Davis and Dragusin when, let's be honest here, right? I still think Dragoson's a good defender, right? Okay, it's just that the tactics didn't really help him, right? And Davis, to a point, didn't do too badly last season for what he is. You know what I mean? I still want him gone because I still think he's a backup. I don't want backups on my team that I'm not going to compete to try and compete with the top. You see what I'm saying? To compete to be in the first team.
Was that what you said the other day? You didn't actually mean, and that you were wrong. You didn't mean that they were the best.
No. I should have said it the right way. I didn't say it the right way, George. Yeah, I did say it the right way. No, but I can correct myself.
You might have said it a different way, but then you also said you might have said it just to rattle people. But
and then you also said that you made some really great points. And that you didn't need a pat on the back because you go to the gym and that's a backpack enough. So are you happy with your performance with that particular show, or are you not clear? Because I'm not clear how you feel about that particular show.
Hang on, so what was the point that Dragusin and Davis are our best defenders? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Basically.
That's it.
Well, in defense of Alex, our best wins this season did come when Dragusin and Davis played together.
That was his point on boardroom talks. That was his point.
Hashtag just saying. Hashtag just saying. And
well, to be fair, the Europa League win came with Romero and Van der Ven. And that was probably the most important win, to be fair.
That's the point I'm making.
We could have been at centre-back, E. If you put 10 men behind the ball and defend for your lives for 90 minutes, we could have been at centre-half.
No, I put George. He's actually a centre-back, isn't it?
Are you a centre-back, George?
Yeah.
What sort of centre-back are you? Give it. What sort of a play? If you were a Spurs centre-back, which one are you?
Definitely more like Romero, man. I'm aggressive.
Oh, here we go. He had to be
playing, but definitely aggressive. No nonsense.
Davinson Sanchez.
Injured half the season.
Yeah, Davinson Sanchez too. There might be a mistake in me as well. Every now and then, the lungs.
Jaffet Tanganga.
We love him at Millwall.
He's had a really good couple of years at Millwall, man.
Yeah. Oh, listen, don't rule out Jaffet Tanganga coming back. We need a homegrown club trained player. Don't rule it out. I'm not even laughing.
I thought Jaffet Tanganga was really good when he played for Tottenham.
Same.
Well, he came in, didn't he? Did really well. Was it his
Against
debut
Liverpool?
against Liverpool?
Liverpool, yeah.
Mourinho.
Yeah, really and then he couldn't stay fit, could he? And then didn't really get a lot of game time. But they love him at Millwall. A lot of my mates in Millwall down here in South, they love him there. They think he's too good for the Championship. So it's Spurs. It's got Spurs written all over it. And then Lubo will praise it. Lubo will be telling us why it's a great signing.
Yeah, let's go at Lubo for a little while. Lubo, how exactly do you feel about Daniel Levy? And can you please square the circle that he's responsible for everything that's wrong with the club, yet also everything that he's done for the club in terms of players you seem to absolutely adore?
Sure.
You just call him twin.
I just want to say to you that when we start our new channel, I'm not putting up with your constant Levy out shouts, all right? Okay? You've got to be back.
That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I'm not putting up with your constant Levy in thing, and then also at the same time having... No, because like what you are, mate. You're someone that wants to be heard saying... You want to be heard saying Levy out because it's popular. Deep down, mate, you praise everything that man does.
Change for Tottenham. I heard Billy T, you tried to vote Billy T out.
Lubo, don't you have shares in Tottenham? Don't you want? Do you not? I've heard a rumor you have shares in Tottenham.
He's a shareholder. Not only is he a shareholder, he goes to the AGMs whenever he can.
Yeah,
he likes to proclaim in the outward version of himself, he likes to tell everybody that he's Levy out because he knows that's which way that the wind is blowing in the Tottenham community. But deep down, you can find out how he really feels when you're asking about any individual transfer that Levy's been responsible for.
Is Lubo the mole? Lubo's the mole.
Jed Spence. Lubo, success, good player or a failure? Yes or no? One word answer. Success or
That
failure?
was a good Perchy deal. That
was a good Daniel Levy deal.
Good
Number
Perchy deal.
good Daniel Levy deal. Number two, Archie Gray. Good deal, bad deal.
I think that was a good Lange deal.
Good deal. Okay.
Good deal.
Brennan Johnson. Good deal, bad deal.
Well, he's paid for himself, hasn't he? Because he took Tottenham in the Champions League.
So a good deal then. Good deal. Backdoor Johnson.
That's paid for himself, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Sonny. Good deal, bad deal.
Sorry, who? Sonny?
Sonny.
Going back some way there, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going for the team. I'm going for the team. Going for the team.
Paul Mitchell, great deal. Paul Mitchell, yeah.
Okay. Solanke, good player, bad player.
Ooh, not the player.
Oh, you like Solanke? Don't even try this.
Nah, he lost the Lanky. I'm not having that one.
You told me all the time he was
Okay.
out. You told me we'd be scoring loads of goals if Solanke was fit.
I did, but did I not say that when he came back, he was for me in terms of output for goals?
Let's just one more answer.
Well,
It's
it's
fine.
disappointing.
Good player. James Maddison, good deal, bad deal.
Good deal, 30 million.
Good deal.
Very
Okay,
good deal.
so far we're 6 from 6. You hate Daniel Levy, yet you're happy with our squad so far. Let's carry on. Benton Core, good deal, bad deal.
Oh, that was Perchy.
Good deal, bad deal.
Good
deal, bad deal.
That was Perchy.
Yeah, but the buck
That
stops at
was.
the top. The buck stops at the top.
No. Let me
The
be
buck
very
stops at
measured.
the top, Ian, right?
I wish I had popcorn for this.
So let me be very measured. Perchy was the one decent decision that Levy actually made.
But hang on. We're just going for the players because the buck
He's
stops at the
entitled to
top.
have one in
The
25
buck
years.
stops at the
The
top,
buck
Ian.
stops at Levy.
So by
Levy.
proxy, everything that's on the pitch is down to Daniel Levy. So let me ask you, Benton Core, good deal, bad deal?
Okay, deal.
£13 million. Good deal, bad deal.
16, I think. 16.
Okay, £16 million. You said to me on the phone yesterday, it was a great deal. Let's now go to
Oh!
Bring him private chats to the
yesterday.
Private
Great
chats
deal.
to the stream, man.
No.
It was okay. It was a cheap deal.
You said it was a great deal yesterday.
deal.
Dejan Kulusevski in the same conversation. What did you tell me about Dejan Kulusevski? What did you say to me? Good deal, bad deal?
Cheap deal. Right, go on. Next one.
No, sorry, Dejan Kulusevski? Good deal, bad deal?
So if he'd have been fit, I would have sold him.
Good deal, bad deal? Good deal, bad deal?
Not great.
You said to me yesterday he was a great deal.
No, I'm sorry. 39 million. He's very in and out. He's very patchy, Kulu. He's very good or very poor.
It's not what you said yesterday. Destiny Udogi, good deal, bad deal?
We didn't even discuss Kulusevski yesterday.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We talked about Juventus and the trade. Destiny Udogi, good deal, bad deal?
I think overall good deal.
Okay,
Without
good deal,
doubt,
good
the way I think he will flourish.
Mickey van der Ven, good deal, bad deal?
Good deal.
Christian Romero, good deal, bad deal?
Good deal.
Pedro Porro, good deal, bad deal?
When he's played in the right position, that'll be a good deal.
Vicario, good deal, bad deal?
Very good deal.
Okay, so of 11 players in our starting 11, we've got 11 good deals or 10 good deals, one that you're changing your tune on right now to something else. And yet you still hate Daniel Levy.
I do hate Daniel Levy.
Oh, we need to add some cinnamon to the pretzel that Sean has turned you into. He has turned you into a pretzel there, my man.
Hang on 1 second. If you turn those deals from good deals to great deals, if Levy stretched himself, then maybe we'd be winning more trophies.
So now they've got every sign. It's got to be a great deal.
I mean, everything's got to be great. Everything's got to be perfect. Otherwise, Levy out. Yeah. You're being exposed. You're a shareholder. You go to the AGMs. You say Levy out because it's popular online, but reality, when you dig beneath the surface, all you've got is good deals. All you've got is good deals.
Sean,
This is like an expose.
Sean, this is propaganda you're spouting here. Enough.
That's a sensational comment. Lubo's contradictions are so wild. His hair ran off in dismay.
You're well late
every time Levy lies, Lubo loses.
You're well late for that. The hair went many years ago.
So
we've
we've come to the conclusion that you actually love Daniel Levy for all the signings he's done for you. So did Daniel Levy, if the buck stops him, did he win us a European trophy?
I think the players did, actually.
Huh?
Levy got lucky. Levy got
How
can you attribute? So we were lucky for the so therefore were we unlucky for the Champions League? Were we unlucky?
Everybody listening, this is all banter because they don't really mean it. They're fully in line with me, guys.
Yeah,
They're just trying to create.
You know,
a bit of
you're right. You're right.
yeah.
Actually, no. But what I
We'll try
find,
and have a little bit
actually,
of
this is where I
banter.
will agree with you, mate. Is that most people, when I have time to ask a few questions and get some truth bombs out of them that have been service, most people end up looking more Levy in than they pretend that they are.
Why are you look more Levy out at the moment, Sean? Tell me.
I'm not Levy out.
Tell me. That's not what you said.
I have a question. Sean, why do you actually like? You're better off being Levy's defense lawyer at this point, because you do. I've seen this a lot recently. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen this a lot recently. Levy's defense lawyer. You're on these shows breaking down why everyone shouldn't be Levy out. Why shouldn't, like, I don't get it. Is Levy paying you? Is he got a slide behind the door's pocket? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's
ironic. Levy's paying Lubo.
You might be the Tottenham mouthpiece. That's what you might be.
I would love to get paid. I think Daniel Levy probably wouldn't pay me enough for my value because that's what he does, right? Yeah. He underpays on the salary. But
this is
Daniel Levy for me is far better than 99% of chairmen in world football. He's up against a very strong and ridiculously corrupt competitive field. On the balance of probability, those corruption techniques are not going to change. And so to answer Lubo's comment or question at the same time as I'll answer you, George, I land now on the reality that unless he and his cohort behind him are willing to adapt to a new paradigm in football whereby corruption and the rules don't mean anything, then he should probably depart and hand over the baton to someone who will. But if you're asking me whether or not he's done a good job, it's not the same as Levy out. Levy out is like, fuck you, I hate you, you're shit, you're a cancer, you're a parasite, all that stuff. I don't share that. I think that's outrageous, and I think that is so ridiculously naive and ignorant. But me personally, I think that he's done a really, really good job amongst a very difficult set of backdrops that are the realities of football. I think he's done a really good job. And I don't think that we should be sitting there saying, because your next door neighbor won the lottery, your wife is putting pressure on you to buy a Ferrari that you can't afford because the guy next door got lucky. Right, that's what's happening in most of football, right? Like these teams in football.
No. I had this.
To win the lottery, Sean, it's a 1 in 14 million chance. It's not a 1 in 14 million chance to win the Premier League. Sorry.
I was actually with you all the way up until you went to that analogy, and it was like, nah.
I've got 1,000 other analogies I can use. I've got 1,000 other analogies.
It wasn't a lottery ticket though, because when you actually look at it, it's like everyone's got the same fair chance. In fact, we make just as much money as Arsenal, so we can be just as ambitious as Arsenal. So there's no excuse as to why we can't spend like them. So when
there is, it's not an excuse, but there are. It's not. You're right. There's no excuse, but there are explanations, and the explanations
but no excuse.
Yeah, and the explanations are not just down to Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy's appetite for risk. The explanations are that if there's a player that comes available, if you're the team that's sixth of the top six or the next biggest of the big five, and the other big five have won 93% of all trophies that could have been won, that have been won in the last 25 years, have all been won by those five, and you're the team that's trying to break into that, then the expectations of the fan base demand these certain outcomes. When they don't happen, they start to call our club unambitious. But in reality, if there is a player like Florian Wirtz, or there's a player like Erling Haaland, or anyone else, I'm not just picking those two by chance, I'm picking them. I could pick 100 players, and that Tottenham Hotspur want to get in there. In order to get in that mix and be a part of that trophy participation, you have to sign the best players. In order to get the best players, you need to have something more than just money. If it was all about money, everybody would be playing in Saudi Arabia. The fact they aren't is that other things are bigger, are more important to some players than just money, such as the probability of winning trophies. And when 92% of all trophies in the last 25 years have gone in 5 directions, and in the last 12 years, 75% have gone in 2 directions, the two teams who were nowhere before Daniel Levy took over, and they came in, they had a different relationship with money, they came in before the rules were set up, and they've taken and stolen a competitive advantage that even to this day, they can compete better than Arsenal and Liverpool can on the monetary side.
When we refer to competing,
Tottenham can't pick up the phone and compete with Liverpool. If Tottenham want to play,
but you're talking about competing for them once we like just going in for the player. Cool, we can't compete with certain teams going in for the player. But the main reason why when we make those calls to these players and their agents that we don't compete is because the wages we offer. That's the
No, it's
biggest.
not.
issue.
No,
No, it's not.
no, that's not true.
When
That is
you said
That
look at
isn't
our
true.
neighbours. You said look at our neighbours. I love
Yeah.
Arsenal and so on for their wage budget, but you can't fault them for showing ambition and giving what players want.
Well,
They've
hang
got-
on a second.
Hang on. Can I ask what player?
Perchy, you gotta wait.
Simply because they pay players what they want. We pay about 3 players above 150k.
Hang on.
If you don't pay players
What is
what
the
they want,
what's the alternative here? What's the alternative? You do what Manchester United have done.
not Man
Manchester
United.
United-
I didn't say- I said
hold
I
up.
said a decent
Hold
job.
up, let me-
Man United are the worst job.
Manchester United have paid. First of all, Man United have got the biggest brand in world football. They earn the second most amount of revenue in world football and have done forever. They're first or second. They always will be until the goalposts entirely shift. But they get themselves in a predicament. We tried to pay big money. We paid big money for one player. We paid him more than we've ever paid for anyone else before. Turned out to be a shit show. Couldn't get him off our own books and had to pay him off to terminate his contract. That exact same thing is happening at Manchester United, but not just in one player, but far more expensive in the case of 5 players. Garnacho, Casemiro, Sancho, and Rashford, and Anthony. Those guys. Oh, well, we're not Garnacho, but even though he's a prick, but there's at least 4, right? Those guys have been paid far too much money. So it's not about not paying the right salary. And by the way, if you're looking at how much money Tottenham earn and the overall percentage of what we earn versus what we pay when you include interest and debt and all those things, the money to pay for salaries comes from the same pot as the money to pay for transfers. If you want to pay more on salaries, you have to pay less on transfers. So Tottenham might be in this situation where you think because we pay £120 million a year, we can suddenly pay 300 grand a week. If you want to pay 250, 300 grand a week for one player, it means you don't get to pay to buy 2 or 3 or 4 more players that summer. It means you get one player, one transfer fee, one massive outlay. That's the way it works at our revenue level, unless you have the ability and the ambition of owners that have mechanics and engineering around selling your hotels, selling your car parks, of which Tottenham Hotspur don't have the owners that do that. So I hear you on the fact that we could do it differently, but in terms of our legitimate revenue, Chelsea couldn't do what they were doing, Arsenal couldn't do what they were doing, Man City couldn't do what they were doing if it wasn't for, and Aston Villa certainly couldn't if it wasn't for mechanics and engineering of selling your left arm to your right arm. If you want Tottenham to do that, fair enough. I think that is not something that you should be resentful of Tottenham owners for. I think you should be resentful of the Premier League for allowing that bollocks to happen.
This is way above my area of expertise, bro.
No, but
That's way above my pay grade. No, I get what you're saying. I do totally get what you're saying, Sean. And I understand it. Like, I'm not on the stage of like, get Levy out of the club. Da, da, da. I think he's actually done a good job. Like I said, when I started supporting Tottenham, we were competing with the actual mid-table clubs. We were competing with the mid-table clubs. So where we've gone from and where we are now, it's a big step. But at the same time, I just feel like since we've been here, we've not done enough to try and maintain where we're at, and we're just in the level of just about do enough to get to the top 4, just about get to that top 5, and then once we get there, it's like, yeah, let's not push on.
But if you want Tottenham to do more, you either have to get owners in that are willing to break the rules and get away with it, because that's essentially what happens. And if that's your take, fair enough. And to be entirely honest, I'm at the point where I'm actually thinking that way. I'm like, you know what, Daniel Levy, I appreciate what you've done. I admire, and I think I respect the fact you've tried to make us competitive organically. But at the end of the day, the chance was there 3 weeks ago for the Premier League teams to close the loopholes. They decided not to. So if everyone's just getting on board, this is corrupt as fuck. Let's just continue. And for what it's worth, not to get off the topic, Perchy, I'll let you land now. It's what's happening with Saudi Arabia and Turkey.
Yeah,
it's so obvious that there is something bigger going on with money laundering, and United's like US money men coming in, bringing money in. John Duran going to Villa for 70 million quid for a season, and then he's now going to Turkey.
6 months. It was half a season.
Why is it that Besiktas, Fenerbahce, and Galatasaray are quietly going about creating some of the best teams in European football when they have no fucking money? It's all coming from Turkey. It's all there is so much money that's going on. Just look at the Club World Cup. That whole thing was broken. There was no money. There was no appetite. There was no investment. All of a sudden, DAZN come in with a £1 billion bid for the Club World Cup. Where does DAZN get the money? Well, funnily enough, a week before they bid it, they got a £1 billion investment from where? Oh, I'll give you a clue. Saudi. Like the amount of corruption that is happening right now that is not being spoken about in football through Saudi Arabia and Turkey. It's like a money laundering scheme where essentially football players are being trafficked. It's like a new version of money laundering where football players are the new commodity that just get moved around for a little while. They get paid a few $100,000 a week, more than they're worth, and they'll end up back in the Premier League or Europe in a couple of years. But in order for the money to change hands in ways that can't be figured out by the bullshit rules of FIFA and UEFA, is outrageous. And sorry, I'm finished. Perchy, go for it, mate. Sorry, mate.
No, so just to sort of go back to the whole Daniel Levy point on that, like I get that whole Saudi thing is way above my pay grade. Don't worry, I'm not even going to work out how all that works out. But look, with the whole Daniel Levy thing, I think the argument I'll always have, and I get this, I hear this all the time. Just pay the wages. Big up Sue, just put in the chat there. Like, just pay. I don't think it works like that. I think we need to be really, really sensible. Just pay the wages. What does that mean? Because what will happen is unfortunately, we do that, and then if it goes wrong, it will be Daniel Levy's fault again. Because I'm not here sitting there defending Daniel Levy, but let's just say we go out in this window and we go and put 200, 300 grand out on players, and we bring in 5 of them. They don't work out. It will be Daniel Levy's fault for them. We have to spend 5 years to get rid of those players. So we have to have a balance. Do I think we should be paying more money? Sure, but just this. We need to stop being so simplistic in the sense of pay the wages. I don't think it works like that. We finished 17th last season. We don't have this pool and this commodity that all of a sudden that we are the team that, well, we can just do anything we want. The reason we are where we are is because we finished so low in the table, unfortunately. The gripe I had with Daniel Levy was when we needed to push on under Pochettino, the chairman decided not to, for whatever reason, if it was because of the stadium or for whatever. Right now, I don't think we have a right to sit there and have that blame. I think Lubo now said every player we signed in the last 5 years has been good.
Perchy, what he's done is he's gone from not spending the right money and backing the managers to giving the wrong manager the money to spend.
Do you like every player that he signs, mate?
Let me just say that looking at he brought 20 players in, including loans and free transfers, and Werner twice.
And you love every one of them.
Only four of them came in to play in the first team out of 20.
Hang on, we did this fallacy last night. Here we go. We did this fallacy last night. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Only 4.
No.
Yes.
No. No. Right.
Wait, who's the 4 then?
So let me break this down, right? Let me break this down. Lubo and I had this debate last night. When Angepostecoglou turned up, right? He basically got a brand new player in Destiny Udogie. Hear me out. No, Lubo, let me.
I'm talking about players he has brought in while he has been manager.
Hang on, I'll tell you what, I didn't even get past one person. And if we're going to go with this players he's brought in, so what we're saying is that every single one of those players brought in are his. If we're going to have that argument, it's got to stay at that argument, right? My point was this. He came in, first of all, everyone really dramatized how bad we were when he came in. Oh, we were a shambles in 8th. We weren't. We were 4th. And then we had the mess at the end for the last 10 games without Antonio Conte. So we weren't really an 8th place club. We were a top 4, top 5 team. Ange comes in and gets Pedro Porro, who we'd signed in the January, had played about 3 games, I think, for Antonio Conte, but basically brand new signing. He's got Destiny Udogie, who comes back from Udinese on loan. So straight away, he's got a right back and a left back. His guy that he brought in was Mickey van der Ven. So he's got a brand new centre-half. He's got a brand new goalkeeper. So straight away, add Romero. Hang on, you can shake your head. This is true. Add Christian Romero to that. Of that back 5, the only one that was there for longer than about 10 games, right, was Christian Romero, who you love and think is world-class.
And he made captain.
Hang on. He then goes and gets James Maddison. There's another one. He then goes and gets Brennan Johnson. There's another one. right? So when we're saying all these players he brought in, only 4 of them were first team, right? What about all the other players he got, though, that were coming in that were very good?
I'm talking about the players who he particularly signed off on. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the players Perchy or Gabbianini brought to the club.
He signed off on loads of players.
So are we picking and choosing which ones he signed off on, depending whether or not you like them?
No,
Kulu he signed off
what
on.
I'm doing is
He signed off on Kulu.
No,
he signed off on Kulu.
Kulu had been there 18 months before Ange.
No. Whoa. There are countless reports that say that the manager okayed for us to sign him because it was an option to buy.
It was an option to buy, and he signed it off. See, but the thing is, Lubo, because of your hate for Levy that runs so deep. Hang on. Let me finish a sentence. Because the hate runs so deep, you're picking and choosing which players apparently Ange signed off on and which ones he didn't. If Ange signed off on Maddison, Van der Ven, example, why didn't he sign off on Solomon? Why didn't he sign off on Valise?
He did.
Okay, so he's got no.
He signed off on Valise. He signed off on 19 individual players, and Werner twice. That made 20. I'm just saying that he from when Ange came in, which was halfway through the transfer window, he personally signed off on only 4 players who were ready to go into the first team.
Is Maddison one of them?
Maddison's one of them. There was Maddison, Van der Ven, Johnson, and Solanke. They are the only 4. The others are all squad players.
Bergvall.
No, it wasn't brought in. Wasn't brought in to start.
But does he start?
He does now. I'm talking about players brought in to start.
I agree with you, but I think.
Hang on. We have been talking all week about Spurs needing established players that come straight into the first team and improve it.
And he had a lot of them.
This is what I'm talking about.
He had loads of them. He had 4 of a back 5. Brendan Johnson was his guy.
They were there already.
But
those 4 were there already.
Hang on. Whether they were there already, right? Is Udinese, is Udogie, I wish this person would stop trying to join backstage. Is Udogie our first choice left back?
Yes, he is.
Right. So he had a first choice left back. Is Porro our first choice right back that everyone loves?
The point I'm making is that everybody. The point I'm making.
Finish your point.
Is that Ange did not get the backing that people think he did.
But
that's
hang
the
on.
point I'm making.
Okay. So let's use your point then, right? So would Ange have wanted to come in and gone, I want a new right back instead of Porro. I want a new left back instead of Udogie. I want a new centre back instead of Romero. Really?
There were 3 other transfer windows, and he only got 1 player from those 3 windows to go in the first team.
And as you know, he turned down the chance for signing Eberici Eze. He's turned around
Sorry, yes, he did. Sorry, there you go.
There you go. Stop getting angry. And right. So he did turn down the chance to get Eberici Eze. And then he's turning around. This is where you can't have it all ways. He's turned around multiple times and said, I don't want to buy another centre-half. I don't want to block the path. Right? He said that. He said, I don't want another central midfielder. I'm happy with Graham Bergvall, who we've acquired. He said, I don't want to buy leaders. I want to develop them. You can't have it both ways. The manager can't come out and say all these things.
What's he going to say about Graham Bergvall? I'm really sorry.
Let me finish. He can't come out and say all these things, Lubo, and then we turn around and go, oh, but he wasn't backed. Well, he himself is saying he didn't want them. Why did he say that?
Regarding the Graham Bergvall, though, it was Daniel Levy and Tottenham's board decided they didn't want to go to another midfielder to block their pathways. It wasn't that was Angepostecoglou's choice. Because if we actually looked at, and the reason I say that is the evidence shows that the whole window prior to that, the players that we were targeting, the likes of Conor Gallagher and so on, we went away from that profile and ended up with Bergvall was signed in January. He wasn't even signed last window. Yeah. So then we ended up with Archie Gray, and we were supposed to then get a midfielder because he wanted an all-action midfielder. That's what we were briefed. This time last summer, it was all.
So now ask Lubo what happened then. So this goes against yours. Here you go. This goes against everything Lubo's arguing against. I'm about to prove it with Lubo proving it for me. So why didn't we get another midfielder, Lubo?
Because he chose Gallagher.
And he didn't want anyone else but Gallagher, did he?
He didn't want anyone else but Gallagher. But let's talk about one player out of 20.
No, but hang on.
No,
you can't play. You can't.
I'm talking about the overall position. The macro position, not micro. The macro position was he got 20 people in, and only 4 walked straight into the first team. Now, granted, he wasn't going to get many more because he got 3 in the first window, and he'd already been given 4 by Perchy or Gabbianini. But in the other windows, he had ample opportunity to go out and strengthen properly and bring in players. The midfield hasn't really worked for 2 years. He should have gone out and got.
He only wanted Gallagher. You said it yourself. He only wanted Gallagher.
Gallagher had gone. What about the next window? What about actually working and bringing?
But you said the manager only wanted 1 player, so you can't have
the manager only wanted 1.
No, but surely you re-look between August and January. Gallagher had gone. Gallagher.
But you're arguing.
That's what they're saying, Lubo, is that it's the manager's fault.
You've literally proven our argument for us.
But he didn't get. He only had 4 players.
But ultimately, Lubo, let's be honest, the biggest problem is if you have a squad and you can't upskill that squad. He didn't upskill enough players, and that's what the issue was. Because you have some of these other players.
That's another issue, though. That's a
separate. I know.
That's separate. We know that his upskilling was horrendous. It was non-existent.
I don't agree. I don't agree with this, though, man. Because I'm sorry, because every manager that comes into Tottenham are briefed what they're going to have. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I don't listen to this. And I'm sorry. He had ample opportunity to get players in. He had ample opportunities, right? And he didn't take it, right? I'm sorry. He allowed players to come in that the club gave him as well, right? And he could have upskilled them. And also he had a coaching staff there that he didn't use to their best abilities as well. So I just don't agree with that at all, to be honest with you.
Alex, that's a different subject altogether. What you've just mentioned is different. I do agree with you, but that's a different point. I'm only making the point that of the 20 players he brought in, including Werner twice, only 4 of them at the time they came in went straight into the first team.
But that's his fault as the manager. Why didn't he make any of the others first team starters?
Right, because if you want certain players, Sav, it's all very well saying, yes, you can get this player and that player from Europe. You've got to remember, we had a full quota. We had a full quota of non-English players, right? You can only play 17, right? So it's not so easy. Sometimes you've got to relook at English players because we were short last year. And at the moment, we're short this year for the squad for the Champions League.
Well, I agree with you there because that's been a problem since Poch. I agree with you there. That's fact. That's been factual because we've had problems for the European squad for a long time now. So that's been
changing the argument.
But to talk about the argument to players in, Sav, you've also got to offer proper wages to get better players.
No, but we've done this as well.
That's nonsense.
We've done this as well, right? As we said, at the time when Spurs went out and bought players like Archie Gray, you could have gone out and bought £40 million midfielders. There were so many that moved in that window that were on the same salary as Archie Gray. So
did you read?
Salary wouldn't have been an issue for those players, right? It's more about scouting than anything. But what we can't—
that's what I wanted to ask.
We can't sit here and say— I'm not going to sit here and say only 4 were first team players. But why weren't the others? Why didn't he utilise Radu Dragusin, who the fan base were waxing lyrical that we beat Bayern Munich to his signing? Why didn't he play him more? Why didn't he play Dan So more when he joined? Why didn't he had Jed Spence who he could have used that he didn't? You say, right, he only got 4 the first team. This is a guy who did not want to move away from his first 11 at all. This is a guy that Jed Spence came in for 3 months and was Spurs' best player for 3 months, right? He was better than Udogie at left back. And what did Ange say in the press conference? Yeah, basically, he'll do a job for us until Udogie's back. Jed Spence was our best player for that period of time. As soon as Udogie comes back, Jed Spence out. So your argument of not first-team players, he didn't want first-team players. He said it himself, Lubo. He didn't want these players. He wanted Conor Gallagher, didn't get him. And the fact that he thought he was going to get Conor Gallagher, the Chelsea captain, that blows my mind even more. So I'm sorry. I know that we want to do this whole thing where everything is terrible and Daniel Levy's the devil, but I'm sorry, this manager shot himself in the foot time and time again.
Did you read what Connor put out on X about?
I read what Connor put out on X.
Did you read that?
You sent it to me.
I'll read it out. I'll read it out to you. 405 million. The 405 million that Spurs have spent net on player purchases over the 10 years reflects only 32.5% of the cash the club itself has generated. As an example, this compares to 82% at Liverpool and 94% at Arsenal over the same period. Other clubs like Chelsea.
Over how long a period? Over how long a period?
Last 10 years, he said, other clubs like Chelsea will be 100%.
No, there'll be about 500%, mate. Maybe about 1,000%.
Okay, but what's that got to do with...
The cherry picking of that is insane. Chelsea do not create anything like the revenue that they spend. They sold... Lubo, you can't, mate. What are we doing here? I love
name
Connor.
of the podcast.
Connor has become a regular on my channel. I love him. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's intelligent. I love where he comes at. But as I always say, you have to question the intention of the person who's saying the things that they say. What is the narrative? What is their motivation to say what they say? I always use the case in point of Hugo Lloris, who had the audacity to come out and question the club, question Daniel Levy for creating a mindset when he gave him the watch, when he gave everyone the watch, and there was a quote, insufficient despondency at losing the Champions League final. He was the captain of the football club for 10 years. 10 years. The longest serving captain in Tottenham's history in my lifetime. He is responsible for the despondency level, not Daniel Levy. He likes to, same with Glenn Hoddle writing in his book. Daniel Levy was, everyone that's a loser likes to go, it's not my fault. It's that guy over there. That's life, bro. And in terms of what Connor's saying, Connor's cherry picking clubs that are above Tottenham in the pecking order. And who did he say? He said Chelsea have got 100% revenue to spend ratio. Well, that's first of all, even if that's true, that's not part of the rules, Lubo. But what they also did was sell their car park. They sold their hotel. They sold their women's team to themselves. Next, they'll be selling their under-21 team to themselves. After that, they'll be selling their HR department to themselves. After that, they'll be selling their canteen to themselves.
And their image rights.
I've got 15 more examples of things they're going to sell to themselves.
So how do you answer about comparing us to Liverpool and Arsenal?
What, Liverpool and Arsenal, the team that have always won more, that have the draw of always being a monster in football. Liverpool, the most successul team in English history. That team, you mean?
So you're happy with the fact?
No, don't get the word in my mouth. Answer the question. You asked me a question. I'm just clarifying.
Liverpool are a big club, but you know what?
A big club. They're a big club. They're a big club.
Up to about 2018, we finished above Liverpool 7 out of 8 years in the league.
Sorry?
Up to about 2018, I think we'd finished above Liverpool 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 years.
It was 9 out of 10, I think.
What's the context there?
Well, the context is that, again, when we had the opportunity to push on...
No, let's start with...
push on.
What's the context of Liverpool's departure from success?
The context is...
Didn't they almost go bust through overspend?
Oh, are Liverpool going to go bust?
Didn't they almost go bust? Isn't that what happened with under Hicks and Gillett?
No.
Isn't really?
No.
Really? So they didn't get themselves in a financial pickle?
Go bust.
Well, were they not in financial jeopardy? Were they not in financial jeopardy, mate? Just like Manchester United weren't going to go bust last year. Were they not in massive financial jeopardy? Did they not get saved? And also, by the way, if you're sitting there saying that in the last 10 years, or in that 10 years before 2018, which again is a cherry-picked data set, but if you're making the argument that Tottenham were above the most successful football club of all time in England for 9 out of the previous 10 years, which at that period would have been 60% of Daniel Levy's reign, then maybe, just maybe, Daniel Levy isn't the pariah that you think he is, because doing it organically still got him to outperform our club, outperforming the most successful football club in English fucking history for 60% of his tenure.
It meant, Sean, it meant diddly squat.
It's either that Liverpool was shit and they were failing, or it's that Tottenham Hotspur outperformed. Either way, that context, whichever one you choose to pick, Lubo, makes your argument look fucking stupid.
Not a question about performing. Don't do our club down. Sorry, don't make out they're a small club. They're not a small club. They're a big club. They've got a great history. Right the way through to when Enid took over in 2000.
As big as Liverpool?
No, we won 13 trophies in 40 years. Your West Broms didn't do that. Forest didn't do that. Villa didn't do that. Burnley didn't do that.
Villa, the team that won the European Cup.
None of them did it.
West Ham,
Liverpool, Arsenal,
Leeds, Ipswich. Those teams that you look at that also haven't won shit for the last 50 years. Those teams, yeah. It's a nice little side divert that if I wanted to spend time, Lubo, if I wanted to spend time on that particular divert, explaining why you're incredibly wrong on that bit, I would do. But right now, I want to get back to the last thing that you just side dodged, okay? Were you saying that Liverpool were underperforming relative to Tottenham Hotspur, the most successful team of all time, or were you saying that Tottenham were outperforming relative to the most successful team of all time? Because either way, your argument looks fucking stupid, Lubo.
Either way, he didn't take advantage of it when he should have done. That's the point.
What do you mean?
You know I'm right. Everybody here knows I'm right.
No, I don't know you're right.
Yes,
I think you're entirely wrong.
Yes,
I think you're entirely wrong.
He should have.
You're entirely wrong, as usual. And you know what? I'll come back to this, mate. If you hate him so much...
Thank you to Pochettino.
If you hate him so
no
much...
No transfers, no purchases for 18 months.
If you hate him... Did Liverpool make any... How many transfers did Liverpool make last summer, mate?
Wasn't 18 months. They already
how many transfers? No, it was
one loan deal, weren't it? Or was it one transfer? In Chiesa.
And what happened?
They won the league.
Sure, Klopp left them a really... Do you not think Klopp left them a great squad?
Mate.
What?
Anyone that's watching this can go back about an hour on the stream, and we went through this. I went through every one of the current first 11, and I asked you whether you were happy with the signings, and you were happy with every single one of them.
Happy.
Your argument, mate. Your argument. You are angry with someone, but as soon as you are challenged, on the context and the logic in which your argument is so fundamentally based on, it comes across like you are angry about nothing.
Let me talk. Not one of them.
Let me talk.
Not one of them would get into Pochettino's team. Not one of those 11 players.
Pochettino's team that was also built under Daniel Levy's era.
He's got you there. He's got you there. He has absolutely got you there.
We're going to need a snooker, Lubo, to get out of this one.
Mate, this is going to be a big shot.
Every point you make is so easy to bounce back on, Lube.
When we needed to push on the next level, Poch took us so far. When we needed to push on that next level, Levy wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it.
In summary, here is how you summarize someone who is angry because they think it's right to be angry, but when you challenge them on the specifics, they don't really have an argument. You go into any individual tenure, and then when you say, "Are you not happy that we won the Europa League?" When there is a guy that holds the buck stops at the top argument, and then when they have nowhere else to go, they say that Daniel Levy got lucky to win the Europa League, which is what you said yesterday. It's what you said today. It's exactly what you said. You said it 3 times in the last 3 times I've streamed with you. If you are allocating, if you have made your mind up on a particular argument, then when in the face of logic and consistency that is thrown against you, you allocate luck when things go right, and you allocate entire responsibility when things go wrong. You don't come across as balanced, Lubo. You come across as someone with an agenda. And I think that has been exposed in the last 2 hours.
Not really. Because we won 13 trophies in 40 years before he took over, and we won 2 in 25 years. Facts are facts. That's it. You cannot deny facts.
Can I? Sorry, can
Facts
I?
are, you did like
make
11
hang
of
on,
our
hang on.
11
Hang on,
players.
I want to make a quick point, and then I want to bring in E and Big Will. Welcome, Big Will. This is his first proper live with me. He's a member. He was in my members show earlier. Big up to you, Will. Just before I bring you in, Will, listen. I kind of sit halfway in between the row, which is why I think it's funny. I kind of agree. A lot of Sean's points are very spot on. We seem to praise Daniel. We seem to berate Daniel Levy for everything, but then when we're praising for other stuff, we don't want to praise. It's always luck. It's never allocated to Levy. But on the other hand, I do agree that when we should have kicked on, we didn't. But the key thing for me in all of this, right? The key thing for me in all of this is what I can't get on board with is that every time we get to a final, I fail to believe that Daniel Levy's the devil that didn't give a squad good enough to win a trophy when the team were good enough to go through the entire tournament, get to the final and then lose. And when I actually broke this down the other week, I said, look at that Champions League run. People are going, oh, look at the bench we had look at the bench we had in Madrid. We didn't have enough players and Levy left us short. Hang on, en route to that final, we played Inter Milan, Barcelona, Ajax, Man City, Dortmund. Right? We knocked out and beat some of the best teams in Europe. But then when we lose the one against Liverpool in the final, it was, but it's Daniel Levy's fault. He didn't give us a bench good enough. So how did we get there? If we were so bad, how did we get
with an injured Kane as well?
That's exactly without Kane. So this is for me where the whole, we've only won 2 in 25 years. I put a lot of the actual trophies down to we were in the final. You've got to show up. You've got to turn up. And they didn't in that final. Losing on penalties to Man United in the League Cup final all those years ago. That's not on Daniel Levy.
I didn't say that.
But you are by hang on. But you are by the very fact that you're saying 2 trophies in 25 years. That 2 could easily be 5 if managers ain't got things wrong. But I do want to bring in Will and E because it's not fair to them. I know that you guys wanted to speak about scouting because I think scouting's got more to play than wages. I truly believe that the wages feels lazy to me, feels very lazy. We talk like every player in the world is on 200 grand a week and they're not. Will, whoever wants to go.
I'll let Will go.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that our scouting department are either missing things with players or they're not, or they're, hang on, let me rephrase. They're either missing the good things with a lot of young players or established players, or they're seeing too many bad things that don't really affect how the player plays on the pitch. There's a guy we had on trial when he was 14. He's moving to Barcelona from Copenhagen. Some people probably know. Rooney Bargy, yeah. We had him at 14 on trial. Why wasn't he then put on a contract and put in? He said I believe he said in an interview that he did want to join Tottenham if they'd offered him a contract. But they didn't offer him a contract. And look what he's doing now. Like, our scouting department just aren't seeing things in players that potentially could be the next thing.
At 14,
we had him for like a couple of weeks on a trial at 14.
That's a bit Monday morning quarterback, isn't it, Big Will? Like we're sitting there going, like I'm sure a lot of players that become major things pass through a lot of teams between the age of 12 and 16.
That's a fair point as well, yeah.
To know that someone's gonna become, and for what it's worth, by the way, like it's not like Barcelona picked up. They only went after him because he was 2 million euros. Yeah, if he was 10 million euros, he would probably he wouldn't be going to Barcelona.
Contract in Jan, isn't he?
December,
so that's why he's going. Yeah.
That's why. Doesn't the point that Will's making stand in general? Like if we just use the Bargy one for a 14-year-old, but in general, I do feel that our scouting is really, really shit. Like really poor. our scouting. Me.
I would say our scouting issues is that we seemingly can't seem to scout anywhere outside of the British Isles. It's almost like football doesn't exist outside of England.
We've got Kota Takai.
Bergvall.
No. The odd ones, yeah, agreed, of course. But I look at players that straight away, like there's so many good players out there in Europe that we never seem to be ever linked with. Yeah, the odd kid, I get that. I've got no problems with that. But it's almost like our issues are, well, we're going to buy Solankis of late, more of late, the Solankis, the Richarlisons of late. Like, for me, there's better players than those on that level of scouting.
No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, when we spend big, we tend to go lazy. Richarlison,
yeah, that's my point. Yeah,
I mean, just those three alone in the last 3 years. How much are they? Like
100. That was 160 mil.
Yeah, that feels lazy. But I don't know. I mean, what's your take on the whole scouting thing?
Yes, it's to be fair, it's hit or miss. Really, I feel like, especially in the last few years, Spurs have tended to do better signing players for less, like youngsters for less, rather than when they spend big on youngsters. I mean, just in the last few years, like the Tell signing and the Archie signing, I've been kind of, you know what I'm saying, they're not that great. But we've hit on like Bergvall. To be fair, I think Kinski's shit. But the way I always look at it is we don't really need to spend 70 million like 3 or 4 times on a player to compete and to be good. It's just where you spend it and who you spend it on. So even like just scouting in general, whether it's for younger players or if it's for players in their prime, I think it's just been a lot of hit and miss for Spurs, especially when managers come in, because something for managers as well, it's been a running thing where we get the players in for a certain manager after the manager's gone. You know, so like, for example, like the back three that we could play, it would suit a Conte. Oh, Conte's not here. He just left. He got sacked. And now we have a back 4 manager. You know, it's just things like that where it feels like everything's almost at the wrong time for Tottenham in a sense. And yeah, as you were saying earlier, Savin, like we've been in finals. Like we've been in like 2015 and 2019. We were in 2 finals. And the squad was good enough to beat an Ajax team who beat Real Madrid and Juventus in 45 minutes as well. We came back in 45 minutes. So the squad was good. Like it was a good team. It was good enough to win a trophy. It's just the players and the manager failed, innit? That's the way I look at it. But I think in general, I think we could have basically held not a higher standard, but the team could have been better than what it was if we had scouted better. I'm not saying we generally would have won something, but instead of dropping down to like 17th or dropping down to like 8th or having these meltdowns and then looking so bad, we could have probably just had a higher ceiling or higher floor as to how good we've been if we had scouted better throughout the last like 10, 15 years.
No, I agree with you. Go on, Alex. Sorry, mate. Come.
I don't think it's just scouting on players. I think it's scouting on managers as well, to be honest with you. I think the whole thing is not fit for purpose as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's just down to the director of football. I've been saying it for so long now. We're not a club that need a coach for like 2 or 3 years. I think we need a coach. I think the director of football side of things is where we've gone completely and utterly wrong, and that's where Daniel Levy needs to be blamed completely. That's where the blame should be for Daniel Levy, the director of football. Because if that was, you see what's going on with the top clubs. Top clubs have got it settled upstairs with the director of football. With Tottenham, it's been turbulent every single time, you know. And
because we don't have a plan in place. Is that what we're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think it's just been that's where Daniel Levy's got to have he's got to blame. That's where he's got a big blame on, because he for me, I think you listen to a lot of director of footballs who've been in the job before, and it's quite clear. I remember a conversation with Ed Ferdinand on the overlap, and it's like, when they're having these chats with these managers, they make it quite clear what they're offering, and it's either the manager takes it or don't. It's quite obvious. So
yeah,
you know what I mean. So
no, Alex, I get it. I think, you know what? As I said, I think my issue has always been it's the high ticket signings that don't we have such an outlay on good and bad players on the high ticket players that we bring in. I think the good point someone made it was that when we seem to buy a younger sort of demographic of player, they seem to more or less come better off with coaching, which is why I wanted Thomas Frank. But the high ticket players never seem to come in. When we get them in, you go, really? We've paid 65 mil on a Solanke. And I think that was what I was trying to touch on was we scouted all of Europe and all of the world and went, the best player for us is to spend 65 million pounds on a Solanke. So that's my worry. I don't mind us when we signed Kota Takai from Japan because look, players like that we can turn into a better player. But when we go out and spend on 60 mil on Richarlison, 50 mil on Johnson, you're telling me that as a scouting unit and a network, we've gone, that's the best we can do. That concerns me because either we as a football club don't know what a good player is, or are we saying that we're too lazy to go outside of the British Isles to go and get in better players, right? I think that's the, as I said, the worry for me is you could go and look out on outside of Europe and for 160 mil, you could come back with loads of decent little players that aren't that high value.
Yeah, where are you going to go outside of Europe?
No, sorry, I meant outside of the UK. Sorry, apologies. I meant outside of the UK.
What are you saying? We don't buy anyone from Europe. We buy loads of people.
No.
We buy loads of people from Europe.
Who's the sort of massive players that we've signed?
We bought Bentancur, we bought Udogi, we bought.
Okay, I mean they're not. I wouldn't say that they are big ticket players though.
I can name at least another like 8 more players that we signed. Most of the players we signed are from Europe.
I mean, Heung-min Son came from Germany. Like,
yeah, but some we did when we bought Heung-min Son, we didn't buy him as the finished article.
But how many players do we sign as the finished article?
We don't sign players as the finished article. That's not what
we never do.
We don't. I don't mind us going out there and
buy players. If you're trying to buy players that are the finished article that are going to improve you, you're competing with the teams above you that have the thing that Lubo fails to.
We know now.
You agree with me though? I'll use the, as I said, the 3 that we use there: Solanke, Johnson, and Richarlison. There. You're telling me that as a club we scouted and went, them three are the best we can do at that price point.
Okay,
really?
But those 3 make your point. But within the same time period, I can point to 8 players that we did scout that have been.
There's loads more that haven't worked out though, as well. Right? Yeah, I'm using those as the more recent.
The fundamental point is that Tottenham don't scout outside of the UK, and I'm saying Mickey.
No, I'm not saying we don't. I'm not saying we don't.
Every player that we bought recently is far more valuable than it was when we bought them. Pape Sarr cost us 12 million or something, right? I'm sure Lubo will come in with the stats and facts here, but about 10 to 12 million for Pape Sarr.
Sarr was about 15.
Okay, he's going to be worth a lot more than that. Mickey van der Ven cost us what? 38 million?
34.
Yeah.
34. Worth a lot more, probably double that. Christian Romero cost us what? 40?
42.
Maybe a lot more than that. Destiny Udogi cost us how much, Lubo?
19.
A lot more than that, right?
Pedro
Porro cost us 40. Porro was 7. How much was Porro?
Porro was 35.
Porro was 35. A lot more than that. So the point you're making, Perchy, in the case in points that you're giving as examples might be valid. But if the overarching point is that we don't use and we don't go and scout better players that are a benefit to Tottenham in Europe, that is not
what I think. I think Perchy. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think the point that Perchy's making isn't that we don't go and get people who are probably younger from abroad that come in and we upskill and sell on. It's when we've laid out the big ticket prices, like when we've gone out and gone, right, our last 2 centre forwards that this club have bought have been Richarlison and Solanke, who are 110 million. I think it's roughly 110 million between the 2 of them.
105,
right? 105, right? Without add-ons. Then you add on the 47 million for Brennan Johnson. So we're looking at 150 million, 152 million for those 3.
Yeah.
Now, those 3 were all not young kids. Those 3 were all... Brennan Johnson was youngish, but had been around for a while. Solanke was 26, 27. Richarlison was, 25, 26. I think the point that he's making there is when we go out and go, right, let's go big. When we go out and say...
Isn't that the case for everyone, Savva?
No, hang on. Yep, I get it. But the problem is, it seems like that when we do it, we always get it wrong. Like we all like the Solanke deal for me was very lazy, like truly the laziest.
Okay, well, I disagree. I think he's a really good player, but we can disagree on that one. That's fine.
Sure, we can disagree on it, but
did any right winger in the Premier League? I'm not suggesting that I'm right about this. I'm asking the question: did any right winger in the Premier League, apart from Mo Salah, score more goals than Brennan Johnson last season in the Premier League?
No, but sure, but he's not a right winger. That's the problem. We've bought again a player that's not a right. We can go to the stats, but we've bought a player to play on the right wing who's not a right winger. So we've spent £47 million on a player that isn't an actual winger.
Isn't the stats where you go to justify why Matisse Tell's a bad signing?
I justified Matisse Tell with the stats and the fact that I don't think I've ever watched him and thought, yeah, I'd love to sign you.
But the majority of your argument was like the stats, but there's nothing in the stats.
Majority is I've watched him for Bayern Munich and Spurs. I don't rate him. And then I can go to the stats.
Every time we've had a debate on it, you pivoted to the stats. I'm saying that Brennan Johnson's stats suggest that he is, apart from Mo Salah, the best.
But you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Sure, but there's a reason why. Have you noticed why we are linked with? Everyone we're linked with is a right winger. We were linked with Mbeumo. We're linked with Semenyo. We're linked with Kudus because our right wing, he's not a right winger.
We don't have
Brennan Johnson's an inside forward.
Not true,
right? He's not a right winger.
No, I'm saying, but everyone we're linked with is not a right winger. Eze's not a right winger. Xavi Simons isn't a right winger.
Yeah, but I haven't seen one reputable. I haven't seen anyone actually link us with Eze and Simons.
Romano said it earlier.
Okay, Romano said what? That we were interested in Eze.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm okay. Look, why are we so heavily linked with wide men? Because Brennan Johnson is not a wide man. If we're going to go to his stats, fine. I can concede. Brennan Johnson's absolutely brilliant at putting the ball in the net from a tap-in. He's brilliant at it. But I also am sure that you lot can concede. When we play and he doesn't score a goal, it's like playing with 10 men because as a wide man, he offers nothing. He can't beat his man. He can't cross. He can't do anything. He's not strong. He's not technically good. So the argument for me is for 47 million, could we have gone and got better than Brennan Johnson? Absolutely. For 110 million, could we have got two strikers better than Solanke and Richie? Yes, they both had very average careers.
The argument that Perchy was making, if you were interpreting what Perchy was saying as correctly, is that the amount of money that we spend at the top end of our recent transfer history have been largely disappointing options or lazy options in terms of scouting. Is that the summary that you were making about Perchy's point? Yeah.
I feel it is when it's the important position that we need.
Right. Okay. So we can disagree on Solanke. We can disagree on Solanke because I personally think he's really good. I think he was just using a position last year where, for example, where I'll meet you in the middle is that Brennan Johnson was a lucky guy in that he was the recipient of Solanke's hard work, right? So, but if you look at the top end of most transfer fees at the top end, if you go and get a list, and we can do it right now if you want, it'd be actually a really cool little segue in the conversation. If you go and get the top 20 Premier League's most highest transfers, I think that we could all agree between the seven of us that about 75% of them have been massive flops. So we can make the argument that Tottenham have flopped when they've gone and paid the big money on Ndombele, on Richarlison, whatever. And I agree with you, but I think you'll make exactly the same argument for Manchester United, for Chelsea to the largest extent, certainly for Manchester City and across Europe as well, right? Real Madrid, PSG, most of the players that have gone for the biggest money have ended up being disappointments because whether or not the player is responsible for the price tag, they are under the influence of that millstone that is tied around their neck. And so I think that's a factor that we have to consider here.
Sean, I think City's the only one that have probably had major success with their players over 60 million. Grealish did a job, when they won the double, treble. Grealish, apart from last season, Grealish has been good. Ruben Diaz was good. Look at Chelsea. Kepa was a flop. Man United. Anthony was a flop.
Casemiro, Rashford. I mean, Rashford came from the youth system, but in terms of the pay packet.
Guys,
Nunes at 75 million, but Van Dijk at 75 was obviously a brilliant buy.
Liverpool get the vast majority of their transfers right. Nottingham Forest get the vast majority of their transfers right. The rest of the Premier League fuck up more than they make successful stories.
I've got to jump. I'm just
take care, bro.
Cheers everyone. Good, really good show.
Pleased to see you back from Bilbao. Delighted to see you.
It's fine. It's Love Island time.
Oh God.
Hey.
By the way, big up Perchy. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, guys.
By the way,
Bye.
Rico in the background, mate. Listen, you can goad me as much as you want in my private chat, calling me scared. Put your camera on, you can come on. It's that simple. Listen, I think it's every big signing we ever make, we get wrong. Every big signing. I can't remember a big signing that we got right.
What's big? Was Madison a good signing?
If we're talking about our biggest fees, we're talking about a Sanchez.
Yeah, so biggest fees is Richarlison, Solanke,
Ndombele, Brennan Johnson. At the time, Sanchez and Lamela.
Lo Celso, Sanchez. Yeah, we fucked up most of the times. I agree with you. Yeah.
The big four.
That's my problem with it. That's
I
my
agree
problem
with
with it.
You worked down, Solanke was 57, and Ndombele was 54, Richarlison's 48, Johnson's 47.5, Romero's 42. Porro is, I'm not sure what, I've seen different figures of 35.
About 45, whatever, yeah, 45, whatever.
Yeah. Sanchez was 36, because there were no add-ons included there. Van der Ven's 34. So in our higher amount, we're 57. Liverpool spent 116 now, or before then it was 85. Man United's 85. Arsenal's 105. Chelsea's 115. City is 100. So we are miles off all the other 5 clubs. Miles off them. Miles off. I mean, you know, the club.
In what regard? In terms of like the top 10 of our biggest spends versus the top 10 in other people's biggest spends, or the quality of those transfers? What's your point?
My point is that would we go out and spend 75 on a quality centre?
Not yet.
Like Van Dijk?
Not yet. But like I say, I've put my neck out on the line and said, presuming Tottenham win the Europa League, I said this from, I think it was like October. I said it. I think that this summer, you're going to see a new club's highest earner and/or a new transfer record. And if I'm wrong about that, I'll be mudded, correct and fairly so, right, and rightly so. But I think that it's very difficult to be able to, like, when Arsenal paid £100 million for Declan Rice, they weren't that season. They spent a lot of money that summer, but they weren't replacing 9 players. Like Tottenham have been going through this monster transition ever since 2019 or 2020, and now hopefully we're at the point where we don't need to be doing this all the time.
We're already doing it, aren't we? We're already doing it.
Not really.
Well, I don't think we are. Like we're buying like the youth.
Well, three have come in. Three have come in. Not one of them is a first-team starter. So
yeah,
we are doing
that's different. That's different to squad transformation. Right? There's a different energy associated to going after younger players. That, you know, if we're trying to emulate the Chelsea model or the City model, where you buy players in for £5 million, send them out on loan, or you give them a chance, or whatever happens. I don't know whether Toxicity2 is going to be here for the long term, or whether he's being brought in to loan him out to sell him for a £20 million flip. Same with Solomon. Who knows, right? But in terms of how much does the squad need now? Aren't we all on board the same basic principle that if you go and get a top draw left winger, right winger, forward, and a 6, then basically everybody's, if they're all top draw, that they improved the first 11, then Tottenham fans should be satisfied, right? Whereas a year ago, 2 years ago, it was this squad is full of deadwood.
2 years ago,
so much needs to change.
2 years ago, agreed. It certainly was.
Yeah.
But
even within that process of, like, we're now at the point where you only need 3 or 4 players to make the team competent and capable of competing, even up against what we're up against. And when Liverpool move the needle like they have, it's going to be a really fucking hard process. But even within that, even if you only need 3 or 4, you're still probably going to get 1 or 2 of them wrong. So it's an ever-moving game. But you're never going to have a stable jigsaw where you can think we're done, we're great for the next 3 years. There never has been a team, even Manchester City or Liverpool, etc. They never sit still for long because it's an ever-moving game, right? So you're always going to need to add.
Because they always have competition for places. That's why, and they don't get backups. That's the reason. I don't know what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? It's just, again, excuses. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean. When you say that, I just think it's excuses again. I'm being honest with you again.
Every time I talk, Alex, you say it's excuses. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, because I agree with some of your points. I agree with some of your points, but some of them are just, I think, it's excuses. I have to be honest, because sometimes you like you can get. It's about competition with places. It's like the whole thing with Birdbow. Like, oh well, because he come through the youth, because he come through and he had a good season last season, right? Oh no, now we just need to make sure he keeps on developing. No, what you need to do is get other young players to compete with him, so he doesn't stagnate his development and sit there and say, well, I can just be happy in first team. No, you need players to compete with him. Yeah, youth players to compete with him. Or
you only have 25 places in the squad, Alex.
I know, but I'm saying to you right now that you can get players that are maybe youth players who are ambitious enough to go and compete with him.
So
this is what's happening at the top teams. This is what happens at the top teams. And Chelsea, and that's it. They're ruthless. It's like the whole thing with Bentancur again. Now people are saying he needs a new contract. I'm sitting there saying, no, why are you giving me a contract very easily? No. You want somebody to sit there and say, you weren't that great last season. Yeah, you turned up in certain games in the cup final, cup games because they played you right. But I'm sorry, next season you need to be better. You need to get somebody who's going to compete with him to say, sorry, that's it. And this is what Arsenal are doing right now. And to an extent, Brighton do this every single year. They lose players, and they always find players to replace them with because they always think to the future. Tottenham Hotspur are to now, or future, right? Like, Brighton, Brentford, and Bournemouth are now looking not just the future now; they're looking at the future as well.
Isn't that what we're doing, mate? We're doing that exact same thing.
I don't agree with you there. How
can you not agree with me?
We are not. No, I don't agree with you there, Sean. Because the thing is, there's certain players there that are surplus to requirements right now. Right, we've already signed one player that has not proven himself right now, and Tell me why we're getting Tell for? Why are we getting Tell for then? When he's done nothing in 6 months.
Isn't he exactly what you just wanted to happen, though? You just said you need players to keep
No. I haven't described what. No, because Tell, yeah, he's a young player, but he hasn't competed. He did compete last season, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Did he compete with Son? Can you ask me a question then? Did Tell compete with Son right now? Did he compete with Son to get into that team?
100%.
No, he didn't.
Actually,
he didn't. The only reason why he was in that team because Son was injured.
What are you talking about, mate?
I think they were both.
No, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
I don't know what
can you tell me that Tell was actually good last season?
You contradict yourself in the same sentence.
How am I contradicting myself, bro? What did Tell do last season then?
You just said that players that are in the current squad need younger players to come in to compete.
Yeah, but what did Tell do to compete with the squad though last season?
Two sentences later, you're criticising signing a young player who's being brought in to compete.
Yeah, but but you're saying to me, I said to you, right? So don't twist my words, Sean. I'm saying to you, right? The fact is, we've got people like Tell who did nothing for the last 6 months. We just signed him. Right, so he's not competing, isn't he? We've only signed him because we felt sorry for him. Let's be honest here.
All right. Okay.
I wanted to ask a question, though, to be fair. I wanted to ask, because I wanted to ask Sean a question, and it's only because basically I always relate football to basketball because I watch basketball a lot as well. But like when you were saying earlier with how Tottenham can't really compete with the top 5, which I agree with, to be fair. But in terms of like the big signings and paying these wages, all that type of stuff, because the way our stuff is structured, I don't know stuff about that. But the question I have is, do you think that Tottenham should basically focus on getting younger players and try and like build them up into almost like what we do like with Bergwijn, what we've done with Takai, and to be fair, I guess Tell as well, where we're signing younger players who have the potential and the ability to grow into better players, similar to what was like under Poch in a weird way. But do you think that should be the route for Spurs instead of trying to sign or trying to compete with bigger signings and trying to pay bigger wages when we're not equipped to do that?
It's very rare.
I just think
you can answer this, Sean. It's very rare to have a class of 92 like Alex Ferguson had.
But we're trying to do that, though, Ian. We were trying to do that, Ian, last season. We were trying to do that already. We tried to do that with the squad because your mate Johnny said it. So now we're looking like now we don't want to do that. We're not doing that now because we're saying they're not good enough now.
Alex,
So,
no, hang it. Yes, listen. We got the best set of kids coming through.
well, where are the kids then, bro? Where are these kids
But
that are playing?
that's a good question. But it's going to be interesting. But hang on a second. Hang on. We're in between. We're in between an old regime and the new regime at the moment. The old regime only played the kids because of injury, basically. Graham Bergvall might have got.
I don't. This is where I'm sorry. This is where I think we make so many excuses. I hate this. I really hate it. I can't do this. I can't do this excuse thing.
Can I try and bring some balance? Can I try and bring a middle ground here? For me, like if we're gonna talk about the class of '92 as being, the benchmark for bringing kids through all at the same time, I do feel that whenever anyone mentions that, they always fail to mention all of the top quality class senior pros that Man United had in that. It's got Man United didn't just bring the kids through. They had Irwin, Pallister, Bruce, Schmeichel. They had Roy Keane was already there. They had Lee Sharp. They had Mark Hughes. They had Paul Ince. There was top players at Man United.
Keane came later.
Okay,
but a year or two later. That's right.
They had a lot of players, right? They had a lot of players that were quality. The thing for me now is, can't we all agree on the panel? We've all got enough kids now. Like we've all got enough 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And I think that's where people are getting annoyed that Tell, another 19-year-old, Takai, another 20-year-old. It's kind of like, couldn't we have had one window where we went, we want 4 first-team players that are senior pros, correct, and then we've got the kids coming in behind that. That's the thing for me. Why can't we just have that 1 year where we do that? Instead, 2 of our free signings already are kids. And it's like, oh, how many do you need?
I agree that we've got enough.
Can I just, Elijah, you asked that question, right? For me, I think the right balance right now for where Tottenham are at. So I think it's a very specific and unique situation. Like we don't have owners that are willing to do what Aston Villa's owners are, right? Which is problematic. And I've said it a few times, like get out, like shit or get off the pot. Essentially, the world is what the football world is where it is, and so adapt or depart, right? But whilst we have them, I think the correct balance shouldn't be to do what we have been doing, which is spend £40 million on 3 players a season, or 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, right? And you never really get any monsters in there. I would rather see Tottenham just in an environment where you can spend £110 million a year net or something. I'd rather see Tottenham just get 2 or 3 of these Kota Takai type fellas, right? And then hopefully 1 or 2 of them hit. You're going to miss a couple, and it's going to be a slower process. But just if you can only get one monster, just get one monster. But don't fuck around with a couple of baby monsters. I don't want to see any more Brennan Johnsons. I want to see an Eze might be a monster. I'm not even sure if a Kudos is a monster, but at the very top end, you're not going to get a Florian Wirtz. You're not going to get a Gyökeres come to Tottenham, because if you're fishing in that pond, there's someone else with a rod that has a bigger draw, a bigger bait on it, right? And that comes down to what's their probability of trophies. And
that's why I asked it, really, because the way I relate it to, because I remember at the start I said about basketball, but I relate it to, I don't think anyone on the panel watches basketball. To anyone in the chat that does, Oklahoma just won the title. They're not a big market, so they can't really attract like the top players in free agency and stuff like that. So what they do is that they build in the draft and they build through trades. And that's kind of what they have to do because of the size of the market they are. They're not the Lakers. They're not New York. They're not Boston. They're not teams who can just have that pool. And they're like Spurs in a weird way. Like they don't have the pool. Like if it's 2 teams and it's Oklahoma and it's Boston, like we know where they're going. Right. If the Lakers come knocking, we know where they're going. Right. It's almost like Spurs, like we can be interested in all of these players, but we've seen literally from January even to now, if another team comes knocking, they're going to another team. Like Mbuemo wants United because it's United. No
Can I ask this, Elijah, right? In the draft, right? Does the player if you're first in the draft? Same question, I guess, for football as well, like for American football as much as basketball. If you're number 1 in the draft, but you're in Oklahoma, does the best baller out of wherever college, do they have to go where they're given? Do they get a choice, or do they if Oklahoma says I want this guy and he's the big baller out of whatever state college, does he have to go there?
He has to at least get go there. But if you're good enough and you don't want to be there are some players who are good enough, but they don't want to go to a certain place, so they demand a trade and they have to be traded because their value will just decrease. But the reason I say Oklahoma is because what they did specifically is they basically had a very good player, but they had to get rid of that player because their ceiling wasn't high enough, which is realistically like it's like Tottenham when we're trying to sign our Solankis and our Ndombeles and our Richarlisons. Like they're good players when we sign them, but they're not ceiling raisers. They just they're like floor raisers. They're not ceiling raisers.
Right.
So when I compare Spurs to OKC in that way, it's like when we spend big, we spend money on players who can raise the floor of the team, but we can't break that ceiling. And the players that can break the ceiling, we can't get them because we're Spurs and we're competing with other clubs who are just bigger and better and have more money and do all this than us. So that's why I asked
the question mark then becomes, right, how and I asked this on I think it was on your show here, Savva, last week, right? If we all agree on the basic premise that if Tottenham are looking for a player of like needle moving monster sort of names, and yet City, Liverpool, Arsenal, whatever are coming in, we know where they're going to go, right? So how do you bridge the gap on having the probability curve of trophy success? How do you do that to the point where, the next Florian Wirtz that comes along, if Tottenham and Liverpool or Tottenham and Arsenal are fighting for their signature, that they actually consider Tottenham on, not forget about money, because if you can match the money, you can match the wage, you can match the transfer fee. It literally just comes down to who would you rather go to. How do you make
it's
them
difficult.
choose Tottenham over Liverpool?
I think there's three different strategies you can go right now, and Tottenham got a choice. Like I said on my show, Mr. Box Office TV, we're just looking at one avenue because we're trying to copy what other people are doing. But sometimes you might go a different strategy. You might go for the player that is discarded, like I said before, like a Grealish, like a Sancho, like a whatever player that was top, but it's just discarded, and you could just take that. You could get that player. Maybe have to try and wiggle your way around his wages a little bit, but then you can say, come in, try do some deal, and then try and get him back on his form. You know what I mean? And then try and get some young players around that, and that might be a way forward.
What
or
strategy?
Do it another way, go for a young player before they are good, right? Get other players to compete, which is what the point I was trying to make with you, Sean, which you just completely discarded, right? Right, and then try and do that way. You see what I'm saying? Because that unfortunately, you've got to be clever in this game. Again, it's going back to what I said on the Hotspur hood again, which you discarded again. I said, it's hustling again. It's hustling. You know what I mean? Because you can't, teams. You've got to get one. You've got to think ahead and thinking what can you do to get ahead of the competition. You know what I I mean? So I think there's so many other ways you can do it. Because Roma got a player, midfielder. I can't remember his name now. Savva could tell me. I think it was a midfielder. Mano Kone, that was available for 20 million. And I think Italian teams get they get these players from nowhere, and that were good enough. But we should have gone for a long time ago. You know what I mean? And it would have been perfect for us.
I put a video out when he was still in France saying he was one of my top 10 picks. So like, there's no like the scout. If I'm aware of these players and Savva's aware of these players and you guys are aware of these players, the Tottenham scouts, when they're not donuts, they're aware of the players for whatever reason. But Italy and Spain, they always seem to get players cheaper than the Premier League do. But let me ask you this: is there an option 3? Right? I don't disagree with what you're saying, Alex. About
Belgium is the option.
Is option 3 going after to close the gap on the draw, right? To close the gap on the draw, which is the lack of trophies is the draw gap, right? Is it just to focus on cups, like to not disregard the Premier League, not to disregard the Premier League, but can you close the gap on the draw by winning a cup every couple of years, by winning an FA Cup, by qualifying in the Europa League one season, trying to win it like we did before? You get into the Champions League, you're not going to win that, but then you make sure that in the Premier League that year you finish 6th to 8th, and you get back in the Europa League and you go deep again. Isn't that what Valencia, or I think it's Valencia, were doing that?
That's
all the
why
time.
those clubs don't compete, right? This is the problem. If we look at the Sevilla,
that's what's
Valencia,
happening,
Villarreal model, they all kind of know what they are, and they go for those cups because they're never gonna. I'm saying never. One every 20 years might win a La Liga, right? I hear what you're saying, Sean, but the problem is, and I hate to be this finance guy, and I did want to wrap up the show 20 minutes ago for my dinner, but anyway, here we are. I don't want to be a finance guy, but the problem is this goes down to, those people, Sean, that are all saying, I'd happily finish bottom half, but win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
The problem is, first of all, players that you're trying to attract won't have the same feeling that we do. As fans, we'll go bottom half, but we'll have the day out and win the FA Cup. Cool. But players who want to join a club are going to look and go, you finished bottom half.
Best players want to see you as a title challenger.
So the best players want to see that you're up there in the top 4, in the top 5 doing this thing. But so when our fans say, oh, top 4, top 5, you think it's a trophy? No, but clubs see it, players see it, and agents see it as a mark of progression, of success.
So then how do you close the gap on becoming a title challenger?
So for me, I think you've got to, I said this the other night, I think we've got to do what we did under Poch. But when you get to that point where you were under Poch, you kick on. When we were under Poch and we had a great coach, coached all these players. Now, we could say it was the perfect storm of players at the right time, and we'll never know. But we brought in good, solid players, came in, did a job, we built a team, we moved forward. And those were the years for me when we were finishing second and third. Those were the years for me where you turn around and go, right, Levy and Enoch, look where we are. We're in striking distance now. Look at this 11 we've got. We've got Kane in his peak, Dembele in his peak, Alderweireld, Vertonghen. We can go to players and say, look at our team. Look at our team. We've got the best defence in Europe. Come and join us. That's trying to do it from a position of strength. At the moment, I think we're trying. If anyone thinks we're going after top players, we're doing it from a position of weakness. People think winning the Europa League is a position of strength, but it's not in the grand scheme of things. So I think we need to go sensible, Sean. I think we need to go for solid pros. I think we need to go out, get 3 or 4 pros that might not have the sexiest names, right? But they come in, they do a job, they're going to give you a 7 or 8 out of 10 every game, and you get yourself back up into that top 4, 5 race, and you stay there. But at the moment, we're just buying too many youngsters every season, and we're falling so far behind that top 5. It's unreal.
Yeah, I almost feel like the way that the world works in 2025 is different to how it worked in the 90s and noughties, right? The Netflix, the instant gratification, like the Amazon generation, everyone wants something now. No one's patient enough, right? And I think that if you want to build something, like, I'm not saying we should have built with Ange, because I fundamentally don't think he was the right guy for a league type of caliber. But with someone like Thomas Frank, I hope that he is the sort of guy that you can build with. But I don't know whether or not. I almost feel like the fact that the world has pivoted to this instant gratification thing, that unfortunately, it almost feels like the fact that no one's ever patient enough to let something mature, that unfortunately on that basis, that no one's going to break into that ilk where you can challenge for the league title, because these things don't happen overnight. Acorns grow into oak trees, but you need to let the fucking thing mature. Like you need to water it every day, give a little bit here, give a little bit there. But if you keep pivoting every 18 months to 2 years, but having said that, you need to make sure that the foundations are solid for that to happen. And I'm not sure they were with Ange. Like with Ange, that's why he was founded out, right?
That's why you need a director. That's why the director of football is so very, very important in a club. That's why, because that's where the consistency should be, in the director of football. And Tottenham Hotspur have made it clear for the last how many years, with Daniel Levy's been in charge, that the director of football is what the way they want to go. But they've just messed it up every single time, and that has been inconsistent every single time. Right?
All they need to do now, Alex, is just look at the Ajax model or the Bayern Munich model.
Exactly.
Those models bring in a style of play, their style of play, that is not compromised when a manager leaves, another one comes in. They have legends who know the football game inside out from their club.
But they have a different type of draw, Lubo, which is every young kid that's coming up in Holland is going to go to them over anybody else.
Sorry, man, I got ahead.
Red Bull philosophy is similar, isn't it? They have the same tactic, and then they keep.
In a bit.
Yeah,
Take care, bro.
But if you had,
Let's
if
just
you
say
listen-
I'm going to wrap up in exactly 7 minutes. At 5:30, I'm wrapping up.
do you know what, Sean? Instead of you've got Ardiles and Ledley King at the club, just two guys that are there at the club now. And you've got other players that are there on match day doing, the legends doing the hospitality lounges. You've got the players there. If you put one or two that are qualified to go in a boardroom and run that football side.
But what do they know about business?
I don't agree with you there, Ian. I've got to be honest, Lubo.
Right.
I think
you had Beckenbauer, you had Hones.
Yeah, but those guys might be specific. Like they might be sharp enough. On what basis do we think that the people that you mentioned are like business acumen? You can't have people on the board with a voting right there just because they're an ex-football legend. Like Paul Gascoigne was a football legend. Do you want to give Paul Gascoigne a vote on the board at Tottenham?
No. Hang on one second. In terms of player identification, Sean, these players, I'm sure, would be very good. I'm sure.
That's not the point I'm making, mate. Lubo, the point I'm making is you're pointing to Ajax. You're pointing to the Ajax model. My count, and I don't disagree with you. It's a very successful model. The nuance of that environment is that Ajax are the monster in the Dutch pond. So their fishing rod is bigger. And so when a 14-year-old starts to raise his head above the parapet and everyone goes, oh, that kid's going to be awesome. When Ajax say, hey, come and become part of the Ajax Academy, there's no one else that's going to really be a threat to getting him. At Tottenham, you've got 9 other teams in London that have got just as good or better pedigree of developing youth players in London, let alone Manchester City, Liverpool, United, etc. So it's not the same environment where you can't just go and gobble up all of the best talent and participate in that model that you're trying to. And I don't disagree with you. It's an idyllic situation, but it doesn't happen in an ecosystem as big as football is in England, especially at Tottenham's level.
Sean, do you not think it would improve Spurs? I'm not talking about being an Ajax or Bayern Munich, but do you think from where we are, where we've been for the last 25 years, which is all over?
I think what Sean's saying, I agree with him. To again, do not get used to it. But to a point,
you'd be on the right side of history more often.
The thing is, though, you need somebody that's got a little bit of business acumen. You see what I'm saying? So at the moment, rather than having because I don't think I love Ledley King. He's a legend. He's an absolute legend, and all Delis is a legend. But at the moment, they ain't got that ruthlessness. They ain't got that ruthlessness. You need somebody who's got that ruthlessness about them. That's got you can have a player, but they've got to have that business acumen. I mean, and Van der Sar. Can I mention Mark? I can mention that guy's name. But there's other ones as well that are. Sure. Got business acumen as well as the football IQ as well. You see what I'm saying? And I think this is where we need to do that at the moment. And at the moment, I'm sorry, I just do not buy into Johan Lang. I just do not buy into him whatsoever. I'm sorry, I just don't do it. I can take Perchy to a point because he's better than what we got at the moment. I hope, but I think that needs to be done badly better.
Sorry, Sav, I hate to do this. It's not something I ever do, but just We Are Spurs TV. Two comments in the last couple of minutes. I know this guy hates me. I know he's very jealous of me, but Sean is a pseudo-intellectual fan who thinks he's more mature because he has no standards and doesn't care about losing year after year. Even if that was true, I don't know what point that has with pseudo-intelligence. Again, you've just shown that you've just figured out what the word pseudo means and intellectual means, and then trying to put it into a sentence to try and be funny, and you failed miserably, you absolute donut. And a couple of minutes later, you came again. You probably should chat GPT. How do I embarrass someone who thinks they're clever? Can you give me a business example? Sean, would you consider people who sold their Enron stock before it came out Enron was a scam as impatient? The only people that sold their Enron stock before it came out as a scam were the people that were the scammers. You absolute bozo. You don't know what you're talking about. carry on hating, mate. It's all fun. I love you to pieces, regardless of how much you are jealous of me or whatever it is, why you just like me so much. But if you're going to try and come at me, bro, at least, like, I don't know, understand what it is you're saying. Donut.
On that note, guys, I would like to end the show. I need to eat and spend some time with my wife. Guys, listen, it's this started as a "What Are We Doing Here" podcast with me and Perchy, and ended up being a free-for-all for all Spurs creators. Look, I think the last thing I'll say is I think we can all agree that whatever happens, we want Spurs to do well. I'll end the show, all of the shows like that. We've all got a different way of thinking how we get there. I think we all agree that the next couple of signings we make need to be some needle movers. I don't necessarily like that phrase, but we do need a few that move that needle. So listen, Sean, Lubo, Mr. Box Office, Big Will. Sorry, I know you'll learn. The more shows you go on, you just got to butt in, mate. You just got to shout your way through the crowd. Thanks for coming on. And look, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back in the morning. I'm going to send you all over to Tottenham away. Please, when you get over there, say Savva Raid. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed all the content today. And as always, come on, you Spurs.